you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a feeling.
He crushed it.
I'm high on
It's a grand slam.
what you're in with me.
I'm telling you, it's time to party.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 21 of SoxHub, home of your 37 and 35 Boston Red Sox. I am your host, Brandon McLeary, and alongside me is the one, the only, the zesty lefty slinger himself, Matthew Trotta, aka Trotty Too Hottie. I said that backwards for the first time. How you doing?
You know how it be, Mac. Living the dream, running at God's frickin' speed. You want to know why?
Why?
The Red Sox just won back-to-back series. Not just against any teams. We just took care of the Phillies. And we just took care of the New York Yankees. Both 2 out of 3, taking the last 2, keeping momentum rolling into the next series ahead. God damn it, this team just ignites something special in us. I mean, it does for me. I don't know about you or you folks out there that are listening, but this team gives me a little bit of that pickle, you know, more than a little bit. That was just such a statement at home here for the last week. God damn it, man. Take it away. I need a minute. Got a little freestyle.
All right, you want to hit pause on it? Because you know what? We're pumping it up. But I also, you don't want Spotify to come at you and be like, hey, you can't play those songs anymore.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
But no.
But you got to pump it up. You got to pump it up.
You got to pump it up right now. You already said it. We took 2 series, back-to-back series against 2 of the best teams in baseball. And just to put like that little sweeter, little chef's kiss on it, took a 2-1 series against the Yankees and absolutely hit the fuck out of them in 2 out of the 3 games. So it's a wild night. By the way, if I seem just down, tired, not that excited, not feeling great, woke up, don't feel great, got 0 sleep last night. But I can tell you right now, I'm ready to put my head through a goddamn wall for this team.
You're just putting that out there? Yeah, I'd run through a brick wall. I'd run through hell for this squad. Just the overall team nature, the selfless baseball that's being played right now. It's just passing the baton left and right, not only on the offense or defensive side, but in the pitching staff. It is just motivational baseball being played here in the red and white. It's just, I can't get enough of it right now. It's been a lot of fun to watch, man. And we haven't really been able to say that in a while about the Red Sox. And
no, we have not.
Just gonna live it up, man. I mean, I know that we said weren't gonna live by every day or every win or loss, but this is a streak going on and a nice little hot stretch. So I'll take the positive energy and I'll manifest it into my own life, and you can be quiet about it. All right, let us have this.
Excuse me.
That's a good one. Yeah, get it.
Try to mute my mic on that, but I could not hold that in.
Swing and a miss.
It's just
just most of the Yankees.
It really was, but it feels weird. The biggest thing that feels weird is we've been on a good run that we're 2 games over 500 right now. I feel like we haven't been 2 games over 500 in what feels like a solid month and a half. Like we've been just balancing back and forth.
Yeah, it's been a nice, steady tightrope walk on that 500 scale. Seems like forever. Seems like for the whole year, but maybe the waves are crashing here on that whole little trend in the right way.
They very well might be. Even to start June right now, the Sox are at 8-6 just after tonight's win. And you know what?
Not bad.
You just go sweep your way out, and you're now in consideration for being a pretty good baseball team. So you know what? That's where I'm at positivity wise, is that we are just going to win every game from here on out through the month of June. I know that's aggressive. Is that really how I feel? No, but I just feel that excited about it.
A lot of opportunity ahead, especially with the way we have looked the last 2 series, 6 games. Oh, if they can keep that going, we're a team to be reckoned with. That's for sure.
We are. I mean, our bullpen, like not even our bullpen, our pitching staff, though, I feel like has kind of flipped the script in the sense of like I used to always say our offense was very polarizing, and one day we put up 10 runs, next day we put up zero, and there was no in between. Lately, we've been seeing it back and forth. We've been able to fight, claw, and manufacture runs. Where I feel like our starting pitching and even some of our bullpen arms, like now you kind of don't know what day you're gonna get. Like, are we gonna get a day of 7 innings, no run baseball? Are we going to get 4 home runs in a game? Are we going to get 5 runs from like our starting pitcher? Is Weiser going to come in and let up, 1, 2 runs, let up a homer? Is Zach Kelly going to be as dominant or is he not? Like, is Kenley just going to fucking act like he's 26 again and come out here throwing bullets for 2 innings straight, like getting himself out there, like just things like that. Like, it's just been a flip of the script with the offense and the pitching, I feel like.
It's raising an interesting question in my mind right now regarding the format of the schedule and that little change and how we didn't play the Yankees until June 13th, 70 games into the season. And a lot of people had negative things to say about that going into the series, myself included a little bit, to be honest with you. But now that we're at the end of it and kind of seeing the whole entire landscape that played out, I'm kind of grateful for that. I think this was the perfect time and a nice little wake up call. At that what point are we at? Like almost the halfway point here. So it was a really good nice little mental reset to get right back into that playoff mode type of baseball. Not only like the way that they're playing it and going about it mentally, but they showed it physically this whole entire series from multiple aspects outside of the play, just putting themselves out there in unconventional roles and unconventional spots up and down that lineup. It was just a masterclass performance by the whole entire team and coaching staff. You got to give a massive tip of the cap to Alex Cora here, especially for this Yankee series. The trust that he had in the pitching staff, specifically starting in Game 2, that was so unorthodox and just weirdly played. Just the confidence that he had in 2 specific guys out of the pen, and we'll get to that later, was just phenomenal. The pinch hit opportunities that he freaking sniffed out and played out throughout this series, just incredible stuff all around. And just when every single time I feel that Alex Cora smells or sees the slightest drop of blood or cut, he goes over there and rips that into a complete flesh wound and opens that thing up and rips your guts out until you are like taken away of your man card and everything that you have just strived for in life. He just goes for the throat and then some, and it is just so great to see, especially when he sits there like he's been doing all year, that he's been getting like, he don't care when he's sitting there like this. Like after Game 1, you saw posts like of him multiple times after the airs, just emotionless, just sitting there, and people are like, he's out of here. He don't give a fuck. Yet he's doing that when all of this good unconventional stuff is happening and the Red Sox are dominating. He's just sitting there like, I expect this shit. Been here a million times. We're chilling. It's just, you got to tip your cap to him, man, because the shit that he's been doing this year with this type of lineup, I don't know if it happens with other people leading the ship.
No shot. And I mean that respectfully to anybody else, but again, it's just the culture that he's built, the environment, and his baseball
mind.
This is
wild. How could you not want to play for this man? And how can you have like a negative relationship with this dude? Because no matter who you are and what he's been presenting to the public with his words and actions, the way he presents himself around his players, he cares. So like if he's coming up to you and giving you like negative feedback or conning your game or your attitude or what you're presenting, like you can't take that to heart and think that he's coming at you as like in a negative light. You got to understand that he's coming at you in a coaching loving way. He's not a yeller. He's not like a reprimander, it seems like, or some old geezer just out there hating life. Like it truly seems like a good vibe. I don't understand why you, as a player, would have something like that. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. And actually, I heard a quote today, or read a quote today that I think applies to this. And it is easier to find a great player than it is to find a great coach or manager. And because if you think about it, you have 26 players on those rosters and you only have one head coach. Obviously, yes, you have assistant coaches and stuff like that. So there's far less coaches than there is MLB players, obviously. And to have Cora be the one leading the ship, he is a great coach. And I feel like there's not many coaches in the league that you can say are truly great coaches that build the clubhouse he does. Like, you know, you can go down the list and say the big ones, like a Bruce Bochy is probably a great coach.
Terry?
Well, he's not even coaching anymore, though. I was thinking active coaches.
I can't really think of many very good active coaches. Like some people will get mad at us so that we're not mentioning Craig Counsell, but like,
you know what? I'll throw Craig in there, but I just think he builds a different culture, like to the
Dusty
point of just where like you said earlier in your little monologue there that like when Cora sees blood in the water, it's like the sharks start swarming and he just steps on your throat and closes that throat, so you're just gasping for air, and then he's like, nope, and shuts it completely until you're dead when that happens. And I feel like Cora needs to do that, because if he's like, you know what, we got a 2-3 run lead here, like, let's take it easy, you know, let's go into cruise control. Nope. Because at any point, especially against the Yankees, like, they could have put up, you know, 5, 6, 7 runs in an inning or whatever. He smells blood in the water, and he says, nope, we are going to go and get every win that we can, and we are going to get it in the best fashion possible. So I don't care if that means I am coaching or playing every game like it's Game 7 of the World Series. We're going to get every win we can, especially if we want to make this wild card spot, which it's kind of seemed like a little bit more likely. I'm not going to lie. Like every game, every series that we go through, it seems more likely. I mean, this team, my biggest concern was like adjustments not being made. We were seeing the team strike out a ton. We were seeing them runners in scoring positions, not be as aggressive on the bases, like not to jump ahead, but jump ahead. Like tonight was the first time, or this series was the first time I saw Duran actually aggressive, like truly aggressive on the bases, with like stealing and whatnot. So like we're just seeing a ton of adjustments, and every day we're seeing a team get better. We're seeing a team that is learning from their mistakes, that is making adjustments and adapting. They're putting the ball in play, they're running, they're playing good defense, their pitching's figuring out their identity of who it actually is, as opposed to, you know, what the start of the season was and what May was like. And so it's a playoff team in my humble opinion. Like, and I think this is going to be a wild take, but hear me out. I think they would be a better playoff team than, say, the Yankees. I feel like the Yankees rely too much on Judge and Soto to go out and do big and spectacular things, where with the Red Sox lineup, you really don't know who's going to show up, like who's going to be that bright spot tonight that's going to have a 3 RBI or 4 RBI game or a big home run. At any point, it could be 1 through 9. And I feel like the Yankees don't necessarily have that.
No, it's not like we're living and dying by Rafael Devers here this year.
Yeah, exactly.
It hasn't been like that. He has been a great main character on this stage, but there are countless supporting cast members here that are up for awards and hardware. It's overwhelming how much support there is up and down the lineup, and you don't really see that with this Yankees team. And quite frankly, in a best of 7, I would want to play the Yankees probably over most teams that would make the playoffs this year in the AL. Hot
give
take,
me Garrett Cole back.
Give me them all day. I truly do not think this pitching staff, outside of maybe Cole in Yankee Stadium, can handle this sort of feel and rivalry and the stakes that are had with it, especially in the playoffs. Not to jump ahead a little bit, but these pitchers looked a little scared, a little nervous out there at this series, and they were rattled. They got punched in the mouth a lot of times, and not many of them, outside of a couple of relievers, responded in a positive way in their performance.
I do think if we were to play a playoff series against them, like probably ALDS or something like that, it would probably, like, what would scare me the most would be going to Yankee Stadium. And the only reason I say that is because Yankees fans are on their high horse right now. They got Judge, They got Soto, Cole's coming back. pitching staff's pitching out of their ass. They have Luis Heel, who's pitching phenomenally. So like they're finally like, this is our year. We are.
You go into Yankee Stadium and you win that first game. That place is on fire, and they're losing that series. If you go into Yankee Stadium and take that first game on the road with that, because that's going to be the most hostile environment, game one and only magnitude until you beat them in Yankee Stadium in that series.
I just want to say we should probably just cut this and not cut it, but I mean like save this video for when the Red Sox inevitably play the Yankees in some playoff series, and boom, we're just going to import this part.
Yep, from episode 21, June 16th, 2024. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I really am. And like I've said it before too. Like we picked a very fun year, I think, to start a Red Sox podcast. Like, yes, they're mediocre as they come with the record and stuff like that. But I've said this from pretty close on within the first couple weeks of the season that you have the fact that you have the Netflix documentary here, that it just makes sense right with the world. I'm not saying baseball is scripted. I'm just saying the baseball gods getting this team to the playoff spot for that content is going to be electric, I think.
It's similar to like how they had the stars aligned in 2013. Stars are aligning. Very different way stars are aligning here for them. But they're riding it well.
Because like, if I'm being honest with you, and I'm trying to think as I ask this question, but like, I can't actually think of a more interesting team in baseball right now outside of maybe and I'm saying interesting, not fun, not best, not worst, nothing. Interesting teams outside of maybe like the Braves, maybe the Phillies, and the Orioles, which are all three top teams. And the only reason I say that, though, is, again, we have one of the youngest teams out there. We have a team that can do a little bit of everything. We have a dude that, Cutter Crawford is making strides. We have Houck, who's a potential Cy Young pitcher. You have your aging closer who not everybody, like you have so many storylines within this team when it comes to players and everything like that, that it's just like, it's wild. And on top of it too, we're going to get there right now, but like Verdugo came into town this series. Like that makes for great fucking content. Like this team, I think, is going to put out very, very good content compared to almost any other team in baseball. I really can't think of a much more fun team to pick with the group of guys on here and AC.
The only two are the Bravos because of how close that core is and how the Orioles are as well. Those are two really fun teams and I'm sure really fun clubhouses. But they're that much more fun than the Red Sox right now because they're kicking fucking ass every night out pretty much.
But like that's not, to me, like that's not interesting for a documentary. I know that sounds dumb, but like you pick a 500 team that like if things go right, you want the dramatics. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying this team is probably one of the more, if not the most interesting team in baseball because of that. Like the leaps and bounds, the April to early May David Hamilton we got versus now Willier to start the season, where he is now Kenley to start the season.
Valdez since being sent down.
Yep, like
Tristan Casas coming back from injury. Liam Hendricks coming back halfway through the year and being a two-headed monster with Kenley Jansen. The Kenley Jansen storylines throughout the year. He ends up staying instead of being traded like 95% of us have guessed at the trade deadline. And him and Liam Hendricks end up being a two-headed monster.
I think this playoff push. I mean, this is jumping ahead here, but like I think if anything, Kenley's just boosting his value here to get traded, and this is exactly what they wanted, is for him to do.
Yeah, no doubt.
This. And I wonder
if there's a conversation with Kenley, like, hey man, like, look, help us help you.
That's exactly like, because I wonder how much of this is like Kenley, like, shit, if I want to get traded to a contender, I actually got to fucking like really perform out here, buy in and stuff like that. But I wonder if him buying in, like, could maybe
changes the tune.
Like changes the tune of like, I think we could actually fucking do something here. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that'll be up to Breslow to make that decision. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It really is going to be interesting. And a lot of what Craig Breslow does at this trade deadline, and I don't know why we're here now instead of talking about the Yankees, but a lot of what he does is going to determine the future of this club.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole plays out. Um, dude, Kim, we're going into the game one preview here. Something that really was getting to me before, like I was watching the pregame, and they were showing a lot of Alex Verdugo stuff before the game. They were showing even after all these months. I know he's getting baited because the announcers are asking about it, but he's getting baited into asking questions and stuff. And he goes into it, and you have more logistics about it. But the short story version, he pretty much says that like, hey, yeah, me and Alex Cora had our differences. Great manager. He got asked like how he thinks he's going to be portrayed at Fenway, how he's going to be treated, and he kind of looked almost like he was like emotional saying it, and he like not in a like pump me up way. He was like like almost choked on himself, like a Yankee. Like it looked like he was like nervous to say that, or like I don't know. It didn't seem genuine. It seemed like very scripted. Like he's like, oh, I want to be the villain. Like I vibe with it, I guess. Like I not vibe with it. I respect it to a certain extent, but I don't think he is the proper individual to do that. Like the villains happen organically, and he's just kind of trying to like.
I think it did happen
look
organically.
At me. For game one, maybe, yeah, like when you get into it. But
well, no, I just mean in the sense of like the way his career ended at Boston to then go to the Yankees, where you could tell like the comments that he had made about like, it's nice to have a manager that has your back.
It would be very, very different if he didn't get traded.
Yeah.
If it was like he left us in free agency and then went and signed with the Yankees, completely different story. But we found this guy borderline useless to the point that we traded him for minor leaguers. So, like, you're irrelevant. Why do you think you're relevant here, bro? Like that, I don't understand that at all.
And it's not even like he was a star either. Like he had his moments, obviously, for us that were like he was good, had a few walk-offs, and like, you know, Verdugo was all about it. But like he was even asked too, like, how's it feel to come back? He's like, man, you know, just coming back. Yes, question in the back.
Who have been the Yankees' villains for Red Sox fans in the past?
Alex Rodriguez
top three for you.
The main one that comes to mind.
Great. Other two.
I would say Mo, but Mo wasn't really a villain, just really fucking good and beat us every goddamn time he was out there.
He's a villain. I agree with you. Those are my two right now. My third.
And my third? Ooh. Who would because like again, like Andy Pettit maybe, or like a Mike Mussina, there's Jorge Posada, there's Jeter, but like I don't even think Jeter was a villain because like he just carried himself so well out there. Like people like Red Sox fans I think respected him. Didn't have respect for a lot of those other guys. If I had a third villain, I was gonna say Aaron Boone. I don't really like who would you pick?
Jorge Posada.
So I was thinking that too, with some of those fights and him just getting right in the middle. If I had to have a third villain, it would be Austin Wells. Not Austin Wells. Tyler Austin. Nope, Tyler Austin.
Oh, okay.
Just because of him thinking. Granted, he was just not on the team for that long, but that 2018 fight with him and Joe Kelly.
Here's my point with that. All right, because fuck your Tyler Austin statement there. We're not going to include that into this.
No.
Those guys are the best closer of all time and arguably the best left-sided infielder of all time.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to force playing the villain card and being all TNT, we know drama about it and all selfish and look at me when we hit 15 home runs a year, lucky to drive in 75 RBIs, 75 runs, and is a borderline distraction.
But that's where
I do it every single day.
But that's where I think that's where it's kind of organic, and I think you can make the case for either though, just because of the fact that like it's not Soto. Like I thought Soto was going to be the perfect villain for this with the Soto Shuffle and him being able to hit a few home runs. Yep. Like Judge is just actually genuinely fun to watch because of what he does with the bat.
And it's borderline respect level at times, like Jeter. Jeter still got booed at Fenway, but like unanimously, like Judge does. But
it was like a boo, like we're booing you because you're that good, not because we fucking hate you. It's because we know that you're the one guy that can probably beat us.
Dude, that's gotta feel so fucking good as an opposing player going to every single stadium in the whole entire arena, ballpark, whatever it may be, is in unison, booing just you. Yeah,
That's why I think
that's got to feel incredible.
Bryce Harper thrives in those moments because of
Oh,
moments like
yeah.
that, going to an opposing place and getting booed, and he's like, "Yeah, they're booing, so they know I'm a bad motherfucker."
Not to jump ahead and cut off your game one lead in, but with
That's
the
fine. We'll
whole
talk about
Alex
it.
Verdugo going Yabo in his first at bat,
Whoa!
I think that was his whole. I'm sorry for
No,
jumping
I know. I'm
ahead,
just
but we're
kidding.
talking about his theatrics and
Yeah.
everything. That's him busting his whole fucking nut and load for the whole entire Yankees tenure against the Red Sox. Like, I don't think he's doing much anymore, and we're going to freaking ice him cold like we did for the rest of this series, other than his one hit in this finale. I think he's going to be dead. Like, all borderline, like, who are you type of shit, especially for that goddamn photograph that him and the New York Yankees put out the next morning in the dugout with the comment, "Good morning," with him sitting there in the corner with his little coffee mug, smiling, cheesing like he freaking won the World Series.
So I will say this to that home run though is as bad as it was because it was Verdugo who hit it and all that stuff and the storyline leading up to that. And it also could be too that this storyline's getting dug deeper because of something like the Netflix documentary. You know what I mean? So it just adds a little bit more juice to it. But I think that home run was much needed to help
Yeah, sure.
like have somebody to really hate on the Red Sox. Because like
And,
Garrett Cole's not here right now. You know what I mean? Like
no, and we don't like Juan Soto, but we,
I
as
respect
Red
the
Sox
shit
fans,
out
I
of him.
feel like are smart enough not to like go full blown hate mode on him because he's a free agent after this year,
And on top
he
of it
has like
too,
connections with Sox, and we don't want to hate him too bad yet.
I actually have a couple of notes on that from Game 3, but it also too is like Verdugo and Soto may not be here next year. So, I mean, Verdugo could also potentially not even be here at the trade deadline. Like
Yeah,
he
dude,
is
like, what are we
he's
doing?
1 year controllable piece. Like he could be traded, but I do think he's a perfect Yankee with
My
his
my
dickhead, like
last
a Brett Gardner, but not
yeah,
Brett Gardner.
my last statement thing here is he's not a dickhead. Like, did you see him pregame before the game one started? Like, he's going up like all cheesing, like homie with these guys. And then like after the home run, like he was walking in, he's like, "Fuck you, forgot about me, motherfuckers!" Like, "Fuck you." And he's like my house when he's walking around the bases and everything. Like,
I think
get the
that's to the
fuck out of
fans,
here,
though.
bro.
I don't think
If you're
that's
gonna
the
do that
players. That's to
shit,
the fans.
I guess, but maybe the core a little bit too. But I just save it. It has to be genuine, man.
It. I see what you're saying. I genuinely do, and like part of me is like believes you 100% that like it's not genuine. It's not even necessary. He's not the villain that we want or need or anything like that. So I don't know why I'm trying to talk myself out of it because I feel like I do want it to be Verdugo, but I want it to be Verdugo and watch him get. I want him to watch him fail because he's also the one guy I think that again, if he did get plunked, he would be the one guy that would actually sprint out and start a fucking fight, as opposed to like I don't think Juan Soto would, I don't think Judge would, Rizzo, none of those guys. I think Verdugo would be that one guy to sit there and be like, "You fucking kidding me?" and make a whole big deal about shit.
Who was that Red Sox guy that was supposed to pan out? He played pretty much every athletic position for us. Dominican guy got released and he went to the Yankees and started going off. Recently, you loved him. We would use him as our shortstop in MLB The Show 22.
Um,
Fuck. If I
this is
could think
gonna
of his
bug me.
name, that would
Miguel
probably be.
Andujar.
I was more afraid of whoever the hell this guy is that I'm forgetting who it is than I fear Alex Verdugo. That's saying something considering I can't even remember this fucking guy's name.
This is gonna bug the shit out of me now.
Yeah, we were massive supporters of this dude. What the hell was his name, man?
2022 Yankees lineup. Let's see. This is gonna bug me. You sure it was 2022?
I think so.
All right, I'm bringing it up right now. I want to see who's on the roster. Bear with me. Bear with me. Catchers, infielders: Matt Carpenter, Josh Donaldson, Marwin Gonzalez, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Ronald Guzman,
No.
DJ, Matt, and outfielders: Miguel Andujar, Andrew Benintendi.
Did it start with a C? Red Sox roster 2021. We'll cut this shit out.
I don't mind. I mean, we're just looking up stats here. You know what I mean? Baseball.
Where the fuck
Almanac.
is it? Where the fuck is it?
Christian Arroyo, no. Michael Chavis, no. Jonathan Arruas, no. Devers Kike, Jack Lopez, no. Taylor Motter.
I just looked
Andy
up
Santana.
2021.
I did too.
It
Franchi
wasn't that.
Cordero.
Yes, it was Franchi. Thank you.
It was Franchi. That's I
Franchi
forgot it. No,
Cordero.
because he technically no. The only reason you're saying that is because he had shortstop eligibility in MLB The Show, but he was an outfielder.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's what I'm like.
But,
I'm trying to
yeah,
think
that
of
was
what
the guy.
fucking infielder.
Franchi Cordero. How could we forget? But I was more afraid of him. Than I feel like I'm afraid of Alex Verdugo here because we know what we're going to get at Alex Verdugo. It's a carbon copy stat line every year, and that don't intimidate me, man. It really does not. I'm sorry.
It doesn't intimidate you, but he was better than Franchi Cordero.
Franchi had so much higher of a ceiling for the big time, big fly, or the extra base hit. Yeah, he was a similar Bob guy, but when he went to the Yankees, he went on a tear for a bit, and that was pretty fearful in comparison
I
to
think
what
it was like a week there,
Verdugo's doing.
Listen, I no matter what, Verdugo is the perfect villain just for the way that it ended with the Red Sox getting traded there, his common sense being traded, and his antics even there now, like just fully embracing New York and all that stuff, wearing all the chains, and then everything said coming back here, hitting the home run, and bumping the chest and just making it about him. Like he is the perfect villain for this right now.
I suppose you're right. You know what? One more Verdugo comment that I noticed. In Game 1, they were talking about how Alex Verdugo was the first thing that Aaron Boone said to him as a Yankee was, "Hey, you can't wear multiple big chains around here anymore. Just one. But you get to pick that new chain every single day." That was the statement. And then 2 days later, I noticed in this ESPN game tonight, he had multiple chains on. He was wearing like 2 chains.
I got 2.
Isn't it a Yankees rule that you're not allowed to wear more than 1 chain? He had 2 on, if I saw that correctly tonight. And that completely contradicted what they were saying in Game 1 on Essen for that little conversation piece during the game broadcast.
That's interesting, and I wonder if it's one of those things where he just doesn't give a flying F and put 2 on and is going to pay the fine, gets fined and he's going to pay it regardless, or if he's earned a little leeway to put 1 on. I have no idea. It also too is did he actually have 2 on? But either way, I found it interesting though too that he did not look forward to having to shave when going there. And he obviously finally had to get used to it. But he has one of the chubbiest baby faces ever.
Yeah.
Not to make fun of him.
He looks like he's still in college.
He's such a douche. But all right, since we talked about it, I do not have a ton of notes on Game 1 just because it got out of hand pretty quickly. And the Celtics were on. I was out with a few people, so I don't have a ton of notes. I actually have 2, and it was his pregame comments of just about Verdugo's pregame comments, which pretty much talked about how does it feel to return to Boston? And he's like, well, coming back to the ballpark that you played, multiple seasons with, it's always a good thing. But they asked him, how do you feel about the fans? The fans are great. They embraced me, I embraced them, and it did not sound genuine at all. Those pregame comments, it sounded like he was trying to appease the media and appease the fans, but you could tell it wasn't dude, it feels great coming back here. Honestly, the fans have embraced me. I love this. It feels great. Obviously, I'm focused on the Yankees, but nope. He was just yeah, it's good. I love the fans. Very, very mediocre, I should say.
Mm-hmm. That's read between the lines on that.
Yeah,
all day.
Yeah, and you could tell he loves where he is, but I think he loves this attention. Maybe not though. He has
for it. I feel
he has made the comments that he's tied. So in that part of that interview too, he's like, all you guys ever do is talk about this Alex Cora thing, and between me and him, and it gets honestly blown up. He goes, all we were just 2 guys who disagreed on a few things, I love AC still. I respect him. Like, and then he goes on to say, I think he still likes me. My kids and like our kids like each other and stuff like that. So, I, he is talking about how he's tired of talking about this whole thing, but at the same time, too,
Yeah.
like I said, this is the most attention Alex Verdugo freaking has ever gotten in his life outside of being part of the Mookie Betts trade. Is the return to Boston, getting the cameras shoved in.
Yeah, arguably right now. Yeah, they're trying to shove it down everybody's throats.
Yep. But anyway, so that was one of my first notes from this game. But we have game 1, game 70, the 70 of the year. Bayo versus Luis Gil, spelled Gil. Gil. And to be honest with you, you and I. So actually, I'm gonna go back to our text because I actually think I have more notes. Because I said I was gonna text you and use those as my notes for game 1. But I remember you saying like, no way Bayo lets up a home run tonight, or whatever it is. I was like, dude, I feel that. First inning, lets up a fucking 2-run bomb to Alex Verdugo. Obviously, we had already talked about it, so we don't have to dive too deep into there. But it was kind of funny. Like, there's no chance.
None.
You did say too on the broadcast, because I couldn't fully hear it, that it feels a little different here tonight. OB said, like the atmosphere being different, and so we will talk about this in game 2. Trotta is actually going to do the game 2 review because he went to probably the best game of the year to go to. So I'm going to let him take that. But like, you could just tell the atmosphere immediately, even on the broadcast, with hearing how loud some of those chants were and how loud Fenway Park was. It was definitely a little bit different.
Yeah, you could tell on the broadcast too.
Anyway, so Verdugo hits his home run, 2-0 Yankees. Fuck. But then I also said, you know what though, this is just what the Red Sox needed, and I know we've already harped on it, so I won't dive too deep in this. But like, they needed the Verdugo to hit that home run. I think like put that chip on their shoulder. That fuck you, like fuck, we're gonna let him come into now our house and do shit like that. We needed that. We needed him pumping his chest around the fucking thing. We needed somebody to hate, and it gave me, whether it's a good villain or not, it gave us somebody to hate.
Yep. Kind of gave another common goal. This guy's weekend.
This one bugged me so much. So in that same inning, right, there was the ground ball or it was a base hit to right field, I think, or something like that, or ground ball to second, and Dom was like the cutoff man, or there was an error, or whatever it was. Stanton was on first base and ended up going to third, or he was on second and he advanced to third base, and Dom decides to catch the ball, and instead of taking the out at first base, throws it. Oh, that's what it was. I think it was Volpe. I'm trying to figure it out. But somebody went to go to second base and took an extra base on a backside runner. Okay? Backside runner. They took a second base. All because Dom Smith decided to catch and pivot and focus his attention on Giancarlo Stanton at third base. And this is all with 2 outs in the inning. Why? This is where we talk about all the time. Know the speed of your runners. Know what you're going to do with the ball when it's hit or thrown to you and when it's not thrown to you. Like, you got to know that you have Giancarlo Stanton at third base.
The only thing I can say to defend Dom Smith here is Brian Bayo initially went to go back up third base, and in the peripheral, Dom Smith, Obi, and I believe it was Lou on Friday. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't Uke. He's still gone from the Tom Brady stuff.
No.
But, shit, I did it again. What were we just talking about?
Dom Smith, Giancarlo Stanton, Bayo.
Yeah, the only thing is that Brian Bayo was initially backing up third, and in the peripherals of Dom Smith, he can more than likely see Brian Bayo sprinting down that third baseline as if he's kind of like a runner, and you see that, your instinct is probably like, oh shit, that's the base runner trying to take home.
If that's his argument, that's even stupider. And I mean, more stupid on him because you got white jerseys and gray jerseys. You got a 6'8" dude and Bayo. You know what I mean? Like, if you're seeing that and thinking that, but like, I don't know, man. It's just, he's made so many costly, and not even just errors, not even so many errors that have cost us runs, and especially early in a game that have brought morale from here to straight down, strictly because of something that he's done. And my whole point to all this, though, was by him doing that and throwing it to third base, it allowed the runner to go to second. Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was. The runner was going to second. Giancarlo Stanton must have gotten a little aggressively off third to try to let the runner get to second. But all Dom Smith had to do was just throw the ball to second, and the inning was over. Like,
Yep.
Giancarlo Stanton was not scoring from third. He's slow. He's not fat, but he's lazy. Like, he's 6'8" and 40 years old. Like,
Bad
he's
knees.
going nowhere. He's going nowhere. Anyways,
No.
at this point, that just really fucking. It was Rizzo. There's 2 outs. What are we doing? Tag fucking Rizzo and just end the inning. What the fuck? Stanton's at third. He ain't going anywhere. You said Valdez literally cannot throw a baseball. Looks like he's never played the sport before. And Dom Smith is a fucking idiot. If he didn't have 15 RBIs, I'd say get him the hell out of here. I know that tune changes. And then that's where I said, welcome to the fucking club. Dom Smith, I'm just very done with after this series. I really am. I don't care that he's batting 240 with 16, 17 RBIs. I'm good. I'm good. Defense, I don't know what it is. You fuck up on defense, and I just immediately hate you.
When it is compounded multiple times, and he's now the only one doing it multiple times in a 3-game series, I'm all set.
And honestly, I would much rather go fucking get rid of him. I'll take my chances with Jose Abreu, who at this point just got DFA'd or released.
I'm done bringing in and then DFAing people. That would be 2 of the guys that we already did that with this year. Well, and then whoever that second baseman shortstop was that struck out more than Bob percentage-wise and got left.
Zach Short.
After 10 days. Shorty McGee. I like that guy too. There's probably another guy that I'm forgetting about here. But I'm done with that whole crap. It needs to be like a valuable asset via a trade, or it needs to be just give Nico Cavadas a shot up here because he's been mashing in the minor leagues, or you keep riding Bob. And if you keep riding him like 2021, that second half was a fucking party.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, the more that he plays, the more he potentially, is going to get hot and see stuff. So I'm here for it. I really am. I'm just not here for Dom. But at the same time, dude, what better do you got? Like, you're not going to go and trade
defensively.
Oh, I'm just saying you're not going to go out and trade for a cost controllable first baseman when you have Casas. You know what I mean? Like,
no, this is all short term. That's why I'm so like, all right, we can do this for what, 24 more days, 25, 26 more days until that Marlins series when Casas is expected to come back in July.
I don't think he'll be back. I think it's him who wants to be back at that point because of that being close to his hometown. I don't think he'll be back though just yet. I'm hoping he is, but we'll see.
Me too.
The fuck are you playing with, a tape measure?
Oh, sorry, it's my phone. Playing with my case.
I'm
antsy. I'm excited.
I also don't know what else he did in this game because I stayed out till like 2:30 in the morning Friday night. You said you got to be fucking kidding me, and I said get him out here. I don't want him. Funkle Dom can go fuck himself. I don't know exactly what he did. Oh, no, and then you said, bro, that wasn't even Dom. That was Bayo.
It was Bayo. It was on the flip. Brian Bayo on a nice little pitcher fielding practice play. Yeah. Is going over to cover first. Dom with the nice flip to his chest. Brian Bayo is trying to catch the ball and step on the base same time. Takes his eye off the ball.
It also, though, I don't think that was a great throw, if I remember correctly.
No, it was fine. It was fine.
All right, you know what though?
I would be very picky about that being a guy that would be the one receiving it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Pause. That sounded weird. My favorite part about after that specific instance is Brian Bayo didn't have his temper tantrum or anything. He seemed like he remained pretty level-headed from what he was presenting to the crowd. But he got out of that, and he didn't let it, necessarily impact that inning. Maybe it impacted his rest of his mindset for the game, but it didn't impact the rest of that inning, and I can tip my cap to that based on his conniption fit that he had against the White Sox.
So that's really all I have on the game notes because then after that, things just got out of hands between home runs, doubles.
Yeah, Robin Hood came in and it was over. I turned it off after Robin Hood. Chase Anderson came in, the human white flag. Yeah, I was all set. I watched the Celtics game and stuff like that because it got out of hand. That was a rough night, but little props to Zach Kelly, man. 2 scoreless innings.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. I don't know
will.
if you mentioned that.
I did not. I was right about to. Bayo, 4.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 3 walks, 5K, and a home run. Drops to 6-4 in the year with a 5 ERA. First time being over 5 this year. I really thought he was going to come in here in game 1 and pitch his balls off.
Me too.
He tends to step it up. I have a feeling if it was at Yankee Stadium, it could have been a different outcome. I feel like he always pitches well there and does well. But also, too, we're seeing a different by Brian Bayo right now than we did pre-injury and last year. So I don't know what we're going to get out of him anymore. I don't know if I can expect a big game start.
I've never expected that. Like we've talked about, I've been thinking he's going to pan out to be a 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm quite okay with that. Fast forwarding to game 3, I'm okay with him being like a Marcus Stroman kind of guy. I'm good with it.
And so
that's
that
my comp.
I was
right now, instead of a Pedro, it's a Marcus Stroman.
I think I gave that comp to you like at the beginning of the season. I think I said he reminds me, and because he moves kind of like.
And you want me to do an overlay, side by side of those two? I'll do that for you.
Because I know that Stroman has a higher and more out leg kick, but like their movements are similar. The way they finish and the way their pitches move are very, very similar. Just one throw is 97. But yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, just because of the height difference a little bit there, and the size difference probably with the velo, but very similar movement patterns.
Jumping ahead here, and I apologize. Stroman actually looks really good in a Yankees uniform. Like,
it's beautifully fitting. He looks great in pinstripes. It looked very similar when he was on the Cubs with the pins.
And like with the 0 on the back, he had the light blue like do-rag on for the Father's Day thing.
The tats popping all over.
The tats popping, and like just the way his delivery and actions are on the mound, and he, not to jump ahead, but like the first couple innings, like he looked really good in controlling out there, where I was like, fuck, this might not go well. But that's jumping ahead here.
And he fits that villain card really well organically, and he doesn't have to force it. Just the way he pitches attitude-wise in the games. It just fits that Yankees attitude really well, that fuck you attitude, especially with that chip that he has on his shoulder of height don't measure heart, that he was overlooked a lot of the times in his baseball career, and a lot of other individuals are because of their height. He's out there just proving people wrong for the short kings. So that plays really well for, all majority of Yankee fans, considering they're, short, angry Italians, especially the ones that are going in the Bronx to the games. They can relate to that short little guy, fire-breathing dragon out there, tatted up, doing his goddamn thing. But back to game 1. You mentioned Brian Bayo's ERA skyrocketing to 5. Quick little tidbit there that I wanted to give you guys before we go into game 2 is Brian Bayo hasn't given up less than 3 earned runs in a start this year since May 12th. All right. That's how long it's been. It's been over a month.
I'd say that's like what, 5-6 starts minimum.
Yeah, it's 6 starts. Pre-injury, man, it was 2 or less a lot of the times. There was only one that was worse than that pre-injury. He was on a tear going 1 or less for 3 starts in a row too before he went down. Just if he can get back to a fraction of that, that would be huge. Like I will take 4 2/3 to 5 2/3 because he's not going even numbers of innings here. He's normally getting pulled mid-innings. I will take 3 earned max in those 4 to 5 innings of work out of him every single time out. What's up?
Thought-provoking question for you here.
What do you got?
I know and understand that Bayo flashes and possesses the ability to be a above to well above league average starter in the majors, just with his stuff pitching wise and what we've seen him be able to do. My question to you is, say in a year or two, it's just this is who Bayo is when he starts. Would you entertain putting him in the bullpen and either being a 1-inning guy and go let it rip for an inning, or even a 2-inning guy like that long relief guy for like 2-3 innings, and go like the Garrett Whitlock, if you will, before we turned him into a starter? Like, would you entertain that at all? Because like thinking about Bayo right now, I feel like for one inning, letting him just fucking let it ride could be a dominant reliever.
Yeah, I understand that, but the investment in him, contract-wise, is a really bad relief pitcher contract. If you're paying somebody the money and the length that we did, you see him hell or high water, no matter how good or how bad it gets, as either anywhere between your 1 and 5 here in the rotation. Like, that's a guarantee until his contract is in the last year or two.
I mean, he's only getting paid $9.16 million a year.
You still don't see that in the bullpens too often, man. Like, very rare year. And that's only going to keep going up per year here. It's going to be a back-ended contract.
That is very actually, that you make a valid point there. But I mean, like, granted, I understand
Did you just
the
divide
here.
the total by the years?
Yes, but I did see that there's like $8.25 million bonuses in 2026 or 2027 and stuff like that. So I did see that. That's just on average what he would make in a year. But like Kenley Jansen making $16 million a year.
What I would say to contradict that is, because I agree with you, he would make a really good reliever, is with how good the other starters are going this year, you would pencil Ryan Baio in there for the playoff roster as a relief pitcher and give him the role kind of like David Price did during the 2018 playoffs, where he came out of the pen and he started going off out of nowhere, you know? Kind of treat him like that a little bit more.
The only thing that would concern me about that, now that I'm thinking about it, is his mentality. I don't know if he has that dog mentality that like a Chris Sale had, you know what I mean, in 2018, coming out of the bullpen as a starter. Like, if he has that mentality to be like, I'm just going to go be a bad motherfucker for 1-2 innings, and that's it.
I think if it was predetermined before the game and he knew about it, mentally wise, he would be the right individual out of the pitching staff for starters outside of Tanner Houck to do that with.
And I mean, too,
I know Pivetta has done it in the past. I know Cutter has done it in the past too out of the pen, but those guys are doing so well as starters, and we need that out of the starting rotation for 5-6 strong. And those are the two guys outside of Houck that are doing it.
Keep in mind, I mentioned this like a year or two down the road, like not this year by any means. Granted, if he continues pitching like this,
I was contradicting it because I agreed with that in a sense.
Okay.
But like, it would make the most sense for this year with how, like, if this continues, not to the magnitude for Baio, but I'm talking pitching staff as a whole of how strong they're doing. Like, our long relief guys are Brad Keller and fucking Mr. Robin Hood, the human white flag, Chase Anderson. Like, that's not going to cut it in the playoffs if we need a long reliever. So we're going to need at least 1 or 2 of those individuals. Brian Baio seems like the perfect guy here, who's not going to be that successful for 4 or 5 innings as a starter. So you might as well ride him out for those 1-2 innings that he's doing great with, you know?
Mm-hmm. I feel you on that. Yeah, I feel like he could be fucking good out there. And then to your point, you know, if they keep, like, if Cooper Criswell keeps doing what he's doing and all that stuff, then there may not be a need for him there. So
one more thing before we go to game 2 that I want to get off my chest, and it's going to be a little fast forward into game 3. We're sorry, not sorry for bouncing around. There's just a lot of excitement and a lot of stuff to talk about, and we're saving it for not talking about it 17 times by doing that. All right. Yeah. So you're welcome. Zach Kelly, 2 scoreless innings in game 1, drops the ERA to a 1.96, and then he comes in here with the bases loaded tonight. Gets
0
down
outs.
3? He gets down with 0 outs. Comes in for Brennan Bernardino. Okay. The last guy to come in and then have bases loaded situation. Granted, Brennan Bernardino, this is more impressive for Kelly because these were all inherited runners. He didn't put a guy on like Bernardino did a couple weeks back. Bernardino walked that leadoff guy. Zach Kelly almost did this. Came down to a 2-0 or 3-0 start of that at that 3-0. He threw a 3-0 fucking cutter.
Boom.
Then another 3-0 cutter, I believe.
Boom. Take strike 2.
And just that, seeing that little difference in spin is going to have you take that pitch all day long in those counts because you're looking for a straight heat. You're looking for that backspin. And then that third pitch for the strikeout of that at-bat 3-2 was a complete whiff of a sword. It wasn't in the strike zone either. It was a really bad swing decision. But in order to get a swing and miss in that location, that pitch must have been absolutely disgusting. Like, he just pitched 3 innings of scoreless baseball, being a no-name to Yankees fans and most of Boston Red Sox fans, for that matter, especially the casual fans.
Yeah.
Like guys like you and I and people that like are heavily invested in diehards, of course they're going to know who Zach Kelly is. But like this man deserves a lot of props for what he's been doing this year. Like, yeah, he got sent down because he was okay when he got called up the first time. But since he's come back, man, this dude's been back with like more than a vengeance, and he deserves a big time tip of the cap. Luck of the Irish.
Well, I had said it before too. Like, and it was one game where Kelly pitched, I think, the 7th, and then Slayton pitched the 8th, or it might have been 8th and 9th inning. And I was like, I think we're looking at the future of the back end of our bullpen right here, because like he throws heavy ball.
We also talked about this in that extra inning game that he pitched his nuts off in 2 innings of relief with inherited runners, throwing up 0 still with an inherited
I was against the
runner.
Rays.
Granted, it was an unearned run. Yes, so like he's stepping up against divisional opponents constantly. This is a guy that you want on this pitching staff for the long term.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Justin Slayton to Zach Kelly, man, it's sexy. It's sexy.
It is. Before we go into game 2, last thing to note is Luis Gil, and the only reason I'm going to mention this is because of he's kind of a Cy Young candidate right now. But 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run, 4 walks, 6 Ks. He improves to 9-1 with a 2.03 ERA. And so him and Houck are kind of neck and neck. Tarek Skubal's right around there. Corbin Burns is right around the same ERA now too and stuff. So like it's going to be interesting to see where this goes.
It's going to be a very fun ride. I can't wait for that Luis Gil and Tanner Houck matchup down the road. Whatever the fuck. He sucks and he can't handle facing the Boston Red Sox. I know he only gave up 1 run, but he just let up 8 base runners in 5 innings. We left 10 or 13. I'm pretty sure it was 10 runners on base in scoring position that game, 13 total.
Which again,
against an ace. If a couple more of those 2-out opportunities or runners in scoring position opportunities fall or go our way, it's a completely different conversation right now for this series and the Cy Young conversation currently.
I mean,
but that man looks a little nervous and scared. There was a lot of self meditation, breathing going on. There was a lot of resets in between pitch clock times, and he handled it pretty well. But I could see the internal gif of that dog sitting there. I'm fine. Everything's fine with the rest of the
everything on fire. Yeah.
And he ended up finding his way out.
But I mean, that's what big league pitchers do. They find their way out. But again, too, it also first time pitching against the Red Sox. And again, like the rivalry is never going to be the same that it was, back years ago. But like that environment, the whole series was a different vibe than it's been all year in Fenway Park.
Obi hit the nail on the head in game 1 early on with that statement on the broadcast.
But that will bring us to game 2 here. And again, I'm going to welcome Trotta to Hottie to taking this one over because he was there for, again, what probably, and you could probably talk or are going to talk about this more, but like probably the best game of the year and potentially even most like pivotal game of the year, like statement setting type game. So Trotta, take it away, babe.
All right, man. It was a beautiful Saturday.
You know what? Nope. Sorry. I got to stop you real quick. And the only reason I'm saying this is I should have started it with this. I get a text Saturday morning from my near and dear friend, Matthew, that says,
"Hi."
Where is this? No, that was today. That was all last night. That was us texting during the game. Sorry. The reason that this is important, this is where I wanted to actually start
lead
this.
off.
Yep, was lead off with.
It's worth it.
10:31 in the morning. What am I up to this morning? Great question, Brandon. I'm so glad you asked. I'm currently sharpening up on my Japanese baseball slang terminology for the game tonight. With how close I am, want to make sure my boy Masa feels a bit at home. What is better than my Caucasian skinny ass screaming Japanese pump up shit at him? Answer, nothing. And then on top of it, I send him a message. And you can't see this, but you send me something in Japanese. Home
you
run.
Want me to say it?
Yes, I want.
Home run Osutu! Saiku! 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 Hit a home run. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. You know
For
what?
you uneducated folk out there.
I was just about to
Saiku,
say,
baby.
this needs a
Saiku
button where you
Yoshi.
can.
Saiku Masa.
That's wild. Anyways, yeah, so that's how this day started off for Trotta. Want to make that abundantly clear. He was fucking woke up in the morning ready to piss excellence.
Yep. We were ready for war, ladies and gentlemen. It was a beautiful Saturday. We woke up. Didn't need no Rosetta Stone. We figured it out. We figured out some Japanese slang, some Japanese terminology. My wife was borderline mortified before even getting in the car to get over there. Before going to the game, little grad party for a nice family member. So that was a fun time, spending some time with the fam. Then we promptly got to the stadium, an hour and 20 minutes before. So we got in there 10 minutes after they opened the gates. And we got there really quick. We got in there very fast. It was a very smooth operation. I have a con, and that is the fact that the Red Sox store. So me and my wife go in there, and I was looking for a very specific pullover jacket, City Connect version, or I was looking for a hat. And I found a hat that I was going to buy. It was a $59.50 brand. And I go to look at the price tag with her, and we see $60. And she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "This is preposterous." She's like, What do you mean?" Because she doesn't know how much hats are. And I was like, "Hold on." And I pulled it up online and showed her the price, and it was $37.99 on lids. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, let's go. Let's go overseas." I'm like, "Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm not paying $60 for a hat. It's all said I can buy this tomorrow with lids in the mall." So we end up going in there, and I bring us to our seats, and going out into that field box view. We were, for perspective here and visual, we were right behind the B of the Boston Red Sox home first base side dugout. We were
How
rows,
far? Oh, okay.
5 rows back from that. So it was a perfect kind of perspective of the game. It wasn't so low that you were kind of being blocked by players for the most of the time, because I've experienced that behind home plate in the past, where it's kind of almost like, damn, I almost want to be a little higher up. This too close to the field. Those seats were absolutely beautiful. We had 1 and 2 in the aisle. It was great. Gave the pregnant wife the number 1 seat, and I took the number 2. I sat next to a father and son. The son was 9, experiencing his first Red Sox Yankees game with his father. They lived 2.5, 3 hours away, and it was such a cool and pure thing to experience and talk with them a little bit, because the kid was such a genuine little rabid Red Sox fan, and the dad was having some bro time with the kid and letting the kid quote unquote put his hair down a little bit, when the Yankees suck chant started, and when your boy was starting them, he would fucking be the next guy in line with me, and he was trying to get his dad to tag along with it, but his dad was being a quiet guy with that part. But that was great. Game time wise, it started off with a bang, man. Cooper Criswell was quite efficient in his first inning, and that was a really good sign to see.
Didn't he throw 20 pitches in the first inning, 25 pitches?
Yes, but we got out of it, man. And that was
Okay.
huge. Everybody was scared shitless about this sandwich game, this Oreo filling game with Cooper on the mound, and it was a on paper really bad matchup against this Yankees lineup, but he ended up shutting them up, dude, out of nowhere. And quite frankly, I'm going to give big credit to the City Connect unis. I think Cooper Criswell, I know Cooper Criswell is undefeated in these this year, and arguably his 2 biggest starts have been in the City Connect unis. So I'm going to go and start the campaign trail that every single Cooper Criswell start, we need to wear the City Connects. I think that is a really smart idea based on the numbers and trends that we're seeing.
See, I don't know, because the City Connects, they put them on when they need a big
when they
win.
need
After
it, when they feel it in their
when
bones.
That first game they lost, they were like, you know what, we're gonna go City Connects.
Yeah, they needed
let's go
it.
set a stadium.
Yeah, respect it. And if it lands on a Coop day, automatic win, hammer it.
Mm-hmm.
Jaron Duran, he steps up to the plate, and you hear the old fashioned little And I look right next to my wife, and I say it loud enough for the other people around me to hear it. I'm like, all right, lead off double. Here you go. I shit you not. 2-3 pitches later, this motherfucker hammers a double. And the father next to me is like, Jesus Christ, good call, man. And freaking daps me up. And we were boys for the rest of the game after that point. That was like the deciding factor. He was probably like, oh shit, this kid knows his stuff. He's got like a little nice feel for the game. All right, cool. So that was fucking a great start. And then it just kept going from there, man. O'Neill kept it going in that inning. Wong kept it going in that inning. It was just purely electric, the fact that they put 2 on the board in that first inning, dude. And then Cooper comes out and does his thing again. He gives up 2 earned in 4 innings, not great, but not bad either, especially against this Yankees lineup. He surprisingly struck out 6 guys in this game. I thought that was crazy. I texted you at some point during this game when Cooper was in there in like one of his last innings, and I was flipping out at the umpire at a couple points in this game because perspective, you can only see north to south. You can't say east to west. And there was a couple at-bats, strike balls and strike calls that I thought were painted, darted on the outer half. Then I was raging along with a bunch of other people in that area. Got to the point that I texted you, and you were like, yeah, they were nibbling, but he missed. They were outside. And I ended up pulling up my MLB app and seeing how far outside they were. Like, oh, I got to chill out a little bit. Jesus, fuck. All right.
But that's like what makes that environment so much better, I feel like, is that like you can kind of see if something's really north, really south, or like really out or really in just by movements and how the catcher moves. Anything else that looks relatively close to the plate, you're like, oh, come on, where'd that miss? And then you go back and look, and you have the whole stadium going, boo, or like, come on. And then you look and it's like 8 inches outside, but the catcher sit up there and it looked perfect.
No doubt. On the other end of that, something that I noticed with Carlos Rodon out there, which I'm really shocked that they waited until Game 3 to do the whole stolen base idea. Because Carlos Rodon, especially with runners on second base, I was watching it. There was only one occasion in that 5 innings he took more than one look over there. It was a 2 Mississippi hold, 3 Mississippi hold count every single time with the one look read. One of those times that he looked over there at second more than once, it was one of these Johnnies where he did this and then a quick like half look and then went right home, and it was still a 2.5, 3 second Mississippi count hold. I'm shocked that they didn't do that, and I'm shocked especially with a lefty on the mound with that long delivery and long lift to the plate that he has. Going first, move a little bit, or trying to see if we can swipe a little bit more bases at second base.
I don't think they necessarily needed to, and that would be the only reason why I don't think that they did that, because they poured it on heavy early with the bats, and then everybody was hitting in Game 2. So like I don't think they needed to force the issue on the bases as much as say the third game per se.
Good point. Coop went 4 strong. What do you got?
Before you say Coop's line, so I had a note down in here on Coop, and I had said, God damn, I hate when that happens. I just had it. Hold on. I feel like watching Cooper Criswell pitch shows how hard it is to hit major league pitching. And what I mean by that, and it's the hardest thing to do in any sport, because nowadays you're used to seeing most starters throwing 95 to 97 or 98 to 100, potentially 99 to 102. You know what I mean? Like you're seeing hard stuff. And then you got this 6'4", 6'5" dude sitting out there like just slinging it in at like 88 to 91 at most, and just carving up lineups. Dude. And I just think that goes to show how hard it is to hit. Like, because it just messes with timing.
Once you go to this shit of 80 upper 8s, very, very low 9s of just mix and sweeps in there. And then you go to Justin Slayton, who's pumping mid up 9s, and he's throwing his sweep in a completely different arm slot, completely different, sharpness and shape to it. This man goes deeper than he ever has this year, 2 2/3. I thought he was going to go the whole entire 3. This dude,
what did he do to get taken out? Didn't he like let up a home run or run or
he let up a home run? It was the Juan Soto home run that got reversed. That was the only thing. That was his only blemish, and quite frankly, I was okay with that because this man went above and beyond and left it all on the line in his first outing. in the Red Sox Yankees rivalry here. And this Justin Slayton, man, this individual is such a cool ass story. It's his first year in the bigs, first longest service time member here. It's just so cool to watch his success story and just to follow it along. When I was at the game, I'm a big walkout guy, for the vibes of the fans and just how it fits the storyline. Because some people just pick a walkout song that's going to vibe with the fans, others that are going to really hit home for them and motivate them to go. We've talked about this in the past on previous podcasts. Justin Slayton went with the double effect. He went with one that went with the vibes of the fans, and then he went with one that is beyond fitting for himself. It is a song by Metro Boomin called On Time featuring John Legend. A lot of you probably are familiar with this song. It came back out in 2022 with that song Superheroes. That was a massive hit. It was the song before that on the track, and it blends beautifully into that song because the second half of this On Time song is that same beat. But it fits perfectly to Justin Slayton. And I sent you a really funny video that I wanted to share with our listeners here. I'm just going to play it. It's a little rendition, a little Trotta remix, a SoxHub remix of the song On Time, Justin Slayton edition.
It's on time, Slade. I ran through the rain and the fire. Slayton Sweeper's gonna fucking retire. The whole motherfucking league on one time. Yeah, Slayton's on time. He's on time. Slayton waited a while, but he's on time. I'm on time. Oh, he's on time. Slayton waited a while, but he's on time. Woo! He on time.
Oh my God.
Electric.
That is going to be the number one song in America in 2 weeks.
the Trotta rendition of it, though.
Yep, that specific version right there.
The heart and soul into that was just beautiful. Like when you sent me that, I was sitting there and I was dying laughing, but at the same time too, I was like, that's it. That's like the song of my summer, I think, right there.
It's a hit, quite frankly. Going into another vibes check thing that I love about going to Fenway Park these days, especially experiencing it when they're winning a game, is when they play Mr. Brightside late game and the whole entire crowd starts singing it in unison. And when they cut it out and the crowd goes a cappella during those first couple of pitches of the at-bat, this brings in Greg Weissert into this game where he only went 2/3 of an inning, loads the bases with a lot of traffic here, and we're shitting our pants. And then I see Kenley Jansen come out of the bullpen and walk pretty much 95% of the way there. I'm like, why is this asshole taking 15 minutes to get to the mound? Can we give it a little hustle, dude? Come on. And people are looking at me all weird, because I'm saying this stuff verbally out loud. I'm getting pissed off about this stuff.
The
It's
wife's
hitting the gear.
loving
It's
it.
hitting my coach's gear. But I felt like it needed to be said. But you know what? The information that we did not know at the time live at that game or live broadcast was Kenley Jansen called from the bullpen. It wasn't the bullpen coach. No, it was another player. Kenley Jansen picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Cora, this is Kenley, your closer. Yeah, I'm warming up right now. I'm all set. I'm hot. Put me in the fucking game right now. It's Red Sox Yankees. This is a must win. We need this. Put me in. I got it. Got us right now." Kenley who? Jance? Really? Your dog agrees? Put him in. Sold. Kenley, come on out. Kenley gets that last out. Comes out after the Red Sox get a couple insurance run, thanks to Jarren Duran starting it up yet again. And that's his 11th save of the year. Oh my God, man. That place, the whole entire night, it was a little weird with the whole entire split. It was 50-50 Red Sox Yankees fans. You saw a lot of Yankees jerseys. A lot of the time you saw Yankees fans and heard them in massive chants, which was very alarming and really struck a gear with me when I was at the stadium, hearing that, and how much more emphatic and almost purposeful and angry of a tone it was in comparison to the Red Sox ones, when the Red Sox ones really only happened once the Yankees fans were starting to go. You'd hear like half-hearted, "Let's go Red Sox," for like, I don't know, like 2 rounds through. But once it got later into the game, you started to hear the Yankees fans a lot less, outside of Juan Soto's home run getting reversed back by the umpires. You almost heard them for a second when Masataka Yoshida got called safe at home and they were replaying it. But that play right there, I think, was the determining factor almost in this one, was when Masa got called safe at home, especially with the review. He busted his ass down that line, and that was a really electric thing to see. My last thing that I want to say about this game and my whole entire experience, man, is that I've gone to a lot of Red Sox games in my time, and I haven't experienced a game that was that exciting in a long time. Last Red Sox-Yankees game I went to, Domingo Germán got lit up like a Christmas tree, and the Red Sox scored like 13, 15 runs against them. And that was the start prior to Domingo Germán throwing that no-hitter or perfect game that he threw. That multiplied that experience by 100. That was the second best Yankees game that I've ever been to in my life. I haven't been to any of the playoff stuff, unfortunately. You know, I don't sit on money here. I don't fart it out. But I've been to a couple cool ones. I've been to a really rare Mariano Rivera blown save game where Jacoby Ellsbury walked it off. That is a type of game, an experience right there on Saturday night that made me kind of feel like little Trotta again, like my little kid self at that ballpark. And I truly didn't think I was going to experience that for, a long time at Fenway or as a Red Sox fan. It was very refreshing. And shout out to the Red Sox for giving me and Rach, my lovely wife, some love on the Jumbotron. They gave us a little shout out there, put out a little message wishing us good luck on our marriage and future baby here coming in September. That was a really nice gesture. I appreciate the Red Sox for doing that. It meant a lot.
To jump back on this, I apologize for that delay there. The one main thing that I wanted to hit on with that game was to start with, what's it called? Kenley calling into the bullpen, or calling from the bullpen, like you said, and then just being like, hey, I'm going in. That is the type of energy I've needed and wanted for a while out of Kenley. Like, genuinely. Like, just sitting there being like, hey, I'm going in and I'm helping us save this fucking game. And it didn't matter when it was, and I love that. I truly love that out of him. And you had texted me like, that's it. He's here. I want him here. Like, keep him here for not the long run, but for the rest of the year. But that's just a bold move, and I love that. And as a coach, I feel like you've probably had this before, where like you probably have had a player look at you and be like, Coach, I want to go right now. And you're like, all right, fuck it. Like, all yours.
You got to have a really good understanding and feel of that player's personality, mentality, and how they present themselves in certain situations, because there's some guys that will always want the ball no matter what the situation, and he's not ready for it. And you got to have that feel as a manager. Alex Cora definitely had that proper feel in Game 2 that night. That's for sure.
Oh, 100%. And I also, like you said, though, it's about a feel and knowing your players. And like, I feel like we've known Kenley can do it, but it's just that he hasn't wanted to all year, it seems like. But now, if he's starting to do that, I think he's starting to buy in.
Oh, big time. And it couldn't happen at the proper time right now.
Oh, it absolutely couldn't happen. I did have a couple notes that I wanted to mention from this game, because I know you summed it up and kind of recapped it a little bit. One, the Red Sox hit like literally 6 doubles within like 1 inning, and it was wild. Like everything, or it might have been the first inning. Like Duran hit a double. I'm pretty sure Hamilton might have even. Westbrook hit a double. Devers hit a double. Like almost 2/3 of the lineup had a double in this
First
game.
2
Like we were
innings
just
with
living
the 3
for
runs that we scored was where all those doubles took place.
Yeah, just
nuts.
Absolutely wild. Especially off Rondon, who we did say, like, he was due for regression.
Mm-hmm. What comes up must come down, baby.
Amen to that.
Amount of times the Red Sox have done that to pitchers this year already, too. Oh. Anyways.
Has been impressive. Coop was pitching his balls off, and he was pitching like it was a playoff game. Like I said, like he navigated traffic really well, lived east to west very well, mixed up his pitches very well. We're like against a very potent offense. I'm impressed with what his line was, which I think I had to cut you off 3 times as you were trying to say it. But 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Like that to me is a very good start for him against this lineup. If he had gone anything more, it would have just been extra icing on the cake.
Without a doubt. My note here, off the top of my mind, the only Red Sox player I believe that didn't have a hit on the night was Bobby Dahlback, but he still got on base with a walk. So you can say that every Red Sox player on offense reached base.
I did actually have a note that says Bob is this team's first baseman. No one better or more suited outside of Casas.
He made a couple fantastic plays that night in Game 2 that if Dom Smith was over there or somebody else other than Bob, I don't think we win this game.
I agree with some of the picks that he's made over there. I trust him.
He had a pick in that game, and there was a ball that there was a specific play that he made. There was a ground ball at first base, and he figured out a way to get the lead out at second in a tough angled play for an individual like Bob with the base path, the baseline that the runner initiated. He almost had to go with the 3/4 arm slot and throw around the guy, and it was a seed right to the shortstop.
At least he's providing value in that extent of it.
I will take that all day. And I'm seeing minor adjustments at bat to at bat at the plate. He just seems like whenever he's walking back after the strikeouts, he just looks so sad, bummed out, pissed, defeated, you name it. That I feel like this man needs his own personal hype up guy in the dugout, or his own mental coach specifically that's in the dugout that can help him out a little bit through this.
I could see that.
It's very different, and you tell younger kids no one fucking cares. Outside of maybe 5% of your town, 10% of your town, no one fucking cares or knows you. So why fucking put so much pressure on yourself? You can say that to high school kids and younger, but you can't really necessarily say that to a Major League Baseball player that gets a lot of shit constantly,
I would say it's probably a lot easier said than done to block out the noise of media, the fans, all this stuff, and just go out there and play baseball at this level.
Bob could use a hug every now and then in between games and being told, "Hey, you're all right. You just worked a really good AB. Yeah, I know you punched out, but man, that was a lot better than the first at bat or a week ago, man. Keep on rolling. You're going to square one up the next AB."
Or maybe just a standing ovation from the fans in his first at bat next game.
That would be aggressive, but I would appreciate it, and I'm sure he would. I don't know if you're going to give him the Trey Turner treatment here because it's Bobby Dahlback, but it'd be cool.
Well, certainly would. Sorry, I'm freaking exhausted over here, yawning away.
Me too.
Just a couple more notes from this game. Stanton is the 7-8 version of Javi Baez, just with more home runs. And the only reason I say that is because Coop was just throwing sweep after sweep after sweep, low and away. And this dude was nowhere near hitting any of those. And it looked bad. It looked like Javi Baez trying to swing at a curveball or off-speed pitch. It was just ugly. And so he's just a taller version of Javi Baez.
It was comical. Guy's getting washed up, man.
2 more things. One, Soto, when you watch his home runs, he has such a flat swing through the zone. He's not somebody who is dumping the barrel or trying to work up and through. He's somebody who stays completely flat all the way across. And this even came after he hit his home run late in the game. To elevate the ball the way that he does with I would love to see his swing numbers, and I can go look that up eventually, but to see what his attack angle is, his vertical bat angle and all that stuff, because he's just so flat through the zone. It just shows how strong and how fast he is too. But yeah, that's impressive to me.
He's just getting paid a shit ton of money to
see ball for. I feel like most of the time when he's on base, it's from a walk because he's not getting on base from a home run. He's going back to the dugout.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Two more notes. John Smoltz makes a point that I've never actually thought about in the game of baseball, and it's going to be so dumb that I've never thought about this.
What was that?
Home plate is the only bag that is in the ground. Everything else is at least above the ground, so it makes sliding much easier into those
Inserted
bags.
in.
Yeah, because like you have something to grab, physically touch,
Right.
and all that. Like, and this I think pertained to the play at home with Massa when he slid home, and he had said like it's the hardest base to slide
You gotta,
into.
like,
And I was
drag your heel.
yeah, like you got to drag it and like you got to make sure you touch it. Like you're not sliding into something, you got to slide over it. And I was like, huh, that's something I've never thought about.
That's why I never, outside of like the danger factor of breaking your neck or getting a concussion, hurting yourself, I never understood growing up when people would give me crap for sliding headfirst into home plate. Like that was my approach to like guarantee that I'm going to touch it. Like hand-eye coordination, it's called, not foot-to-eye coordination. This ain't fucking soccer here. Like, come on now. I feel like that's like a proper strategy here and a more successful one.
As a pitcher, how often did you get to slide into home plate?
I'm talking about like when I was younger days, like when they're instructing you and stuff. There was a rule back in my little league, like you couldn't slide headfirst into home eventually. That was really stupid, and I used to get called automatically out because I would forget because I'm just doing a hard baseball play. And all my coaches would always say, hey, it's just not the right way to do it. You got to go feet first into home. I'm like, no, I disagree, but okay, I'll do it.
It definitely is a safety issue because like
I get it, but
if
somebody has the balls to do it, let them do it.
Amen to that. But yeah, no, just something I've never thought about. That's the only base that's actually in the ground. Everything else
it's something very in our face, but something extremely overlooked.
Yep.
Can I give you one, because you just gave me one?
Hit me.
This is what I told you about earlier that I wanted to see your live reaction, see if you knew this. I have a little hidden Red Sox Fenway Park gem.
Ooh.
What is that sign in the outfield that's like Mass Mutual, right?
Mass Mutual, yeah.
Let me just double check to make sure. Yeah, so you know their logo, right? Their new logo?
The blue MM or whatever the heck it is.
The blue MM, yes, but it has a series of dots, okay? A series of dots.
Oh, yeah.
Right. All right. And the three dots, there's two up top and there's three on the bottom. Now, the big board in center field that has the Mass Mutual sign on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that, my friend, is the ball and strike count as well that they're lighting up and unlighting.
No way.
So if you're going from the top left and the bottom left ones, all of them are out right now. It's OO count. Top left one's lit up. It's green. 0-1. Bottom left one's lit up. Red. It's 1-1 with the green one still being lit up. So the bottom ones are balls. The top two are strikes. Right there for that Mass Mutual sign in the outfield. Next time you're at a game at Fenway Park, remember that little Red Sox hidden Fenway Park nugget and go take a look at that, because it's so much easier to find than in the clusterfucks of the little display screens and everything. Because there's just so much information and advertisement on that it's so much easier and simplistic just to look up on that.
I genuinely, especially when I'm sitting in like when I went to the Aura Club experience, had no idea what inning it was because like there was nothing to look at. I couldn't tell what the count was. So I'm going to have to keep in touch with that. Did you pick that up on your own?
Yes, 110% on my own. I don't know how many people have recognized that yet at Fenway Park, so I'm curious if I kind of found like a hidden Fenway Park gem here with that. I'm very curious to see how many people have noticed this before.
Well, listeners, here's your job. If you've seen it before, let us know. Would love to hear that. Last note for you here on Game 2. John Smoltz said he believes issues with swings and defensively are mechanical and not mental. And granted, he played at the major league level. I didn't. This is from coaching, high school, college kids and whatnot. But like, I highly disagree with that. I feel like most of the time when there's an issue with like the yips or your swing, or so you think, like most of the time it's not a mechanical adjustment, it's an approach adjustment or a mentality or whatever it is. Because when we, as we know with baseball, like when things go bad, things are going bad. And so it's tough to come out of that slump, if you will, defensively. Like we watched Gavin Lux at the beginning of this year not be able to throw a ball to first base from second base.
He said it's
And
physical, not mental.
yeah, he said it's a mechanical issue, and he goes, "There's nothing that a day's worth of practice can't kind of fix it. Pretty much like going in the cage and trying to work through that, and try different adjustments and stuff like that. Which I can get on board with that. Don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of that is way more mental, especially over the course of 162 games. But to the same token, too, 162 games trying to repeat the same thing every game is difficult as well.
Yeah, man. I don't know if it's all physical. I would disagrry with that John Smoltz approach. And he's had a lot of weird, not
Takes.
weird, like hot takes that seem old head baseball-y. Like I remember specifically one old heady statement that he made was, why do we normalize pitch counts necessarily for pitchers at this level? Like there were guys that were going 200 plus pitch counts on the reg back in the day, and this wasn't like Stone Ages of 1915, 1930 baseball. I mean, yeah, it was happening back then, but like Nolan Ryan days, that shit was happening all the time, him included. So I don't really his mindset of like the pitch count stuff. He's like, let him throw 136 if he wants. What's the fucking difference between that and 105? Like his arm's gonna be sore the next 2 days, and then he's gonna be ready to go his next projected start out. Like, what's the big deal, man? That's the problem with kids, is they don't throw enough, and they're holding their mind and their body to their own mind's limitation, which is surprising me that he's saying this about not doing well or being in a slump necessarily, because he said that about this right here, is that you're holding your body to your own mind's limitations of what you perceive your body can do. And that wasn't always the case back in the day. And how often did Nolan Ryan get hurt in his career going 150, 200 pitch count games?
I mean, he had a 20-year career, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah,
was
man. Like
complete games
most of those guys, like Tommy John, wasn't a crazy thing. And like, how many times did a guy's career just end from his arm blowing up? Like, I don't really think that happened too often back then either. Maybe they weren't throwing at a hard enough threshold and velocity and effort level RPE that they do now.
Well, keep in mind, though,
I would disagree with that, bro. Huh?
I would say we have social media now where it actually, like, immediately we know this information.
Yeah.
Where back then we didn't necessarily have
Yeah,
that. But I agree with you agreeing with me, disagreeing with John Smoltz there. That, like, it just, I don't think, I'm sure there are cases where it's more mechanical and whatnot. And you act like, we look at Jaron Duran, the adjustments he's made hitting and stuff like that. But, like, through the course of a season, I think a lot of that is genuinely mental approach, just trying to get yourself in a good spot, like keep yourself mentally healthy. And I think that goes a lot more longer of a way than going to, maybe stand up taller in our stance, or let's try throwing from down here as opposed to up here or something like that.
Absolutely.
But
do we rip it into game 3 here, the finale from tonight?
Yeah, we're going to rip through it real quick because it's already midnight here. But game 3, got to bring my game day thingy, my bobber here.
You want to tag team this like we're playing a tennis match? We'll hit them over we'll hit it over. Like what's improv? We'll treat it like improv.
Improv. All right, so here we had Cutter Crawford versus Marcus Stroman. All right, and this is a big game, chance to take the series. Very first inning, Cutter Crawford gives up a home run to Aaron Judge, and like the second he hit it too, knew it was gone. And on top of the broadcast was sitting there talking about how he's leading every statistical category pretty much in offense, like blah blah blah, and then boom, goes and hits a home run that just 45 degrees off the bat and just absolutely hammered into left.
You normally don't want to leave an 88-mile-an-hour cutter down the heart of the plate to the best hitter in the game right now.
Yeah, typically not a
Not
good
a good
approach.
idea. 45-degree launch angle, and he hit that motherfucker 150 miles an hour and 390 feet. How is that possible? Hitting a ball on that pop fly launch angle that
That's a
hard.
pop fly.
And it's not like that was elevated or he could golf that shit out to get that launch angle. It was like dick middle for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's just insane how he got onto that angle to get that out.
If you watch his swing, and this goes by a man on Twitter named the Teacher Man, he's really annoying because he believes that his way is the only way, and he worked with Aaron Judge to get his swing to do this snap thing. But if you do watch Judge's swing, he does kind of collapse his backside a little bit. He stays really tight to his body, but he does kind of collapse his backside. That creates a little bit more of a steeper,
He gets that big tilt.
vertical bat angle. Yeah, that big
His
tilt.
spine angle when he's hitting is fucking legit too. The way he can rotate on like a really downward angle, like with his chest over his toes, over the plate, especially for those outer third pitches. For a guy at that size to have that sort of core control and body control, it's just so impressive and rare. We've never seen anything like it. Probably won't in our generation and lifetime.
I absolutely not. Then it is impressive with a giant, because I mean you look at Giancarlo Stanton, who had the same type of ability as Aaron Judge and just kind of
he's
fall
breaking
apart
like
'cause he's
glass.
gotten older.
Yeah.
And so it's impressive to see what and especially too considering what Judge did the first month of the season to be where he is now is even all the more impressive because all of this has come literally the past month and a half.
Big time. But thankfully, we got out of that inning outside of that home run. That was his only scathe that inning. And we answered in the bottom of the second, not in the bottom of the first. We got a 0, and he retired 3 in a row after that Aaron Judge, 5 in a row after that Aaron Judge home run. But that second inning, 1-2-3 inning, racked up a couple Ks in that as well. And Rafaela singles on a ground ball to center field. Valdez and Dom Smith both scored, making it 2-1 Red Sox, bottom second.
I did have a note on that though too, and I said that chaos we create with Duran, Hamilton, and Little Raffy cannot go unnoticed. And I know I talked about this last spot, but having 3 guys with elite level speed, granted again now Hamilton's hitting towards the top of the lineup, but that can go out there and always be a threat to take a base is so I think underrated for a team, because like there are other teams obviously that can steal bases and are good base running teams, but like when you have the Duran speed, the Hamilton
triple
speed,
threat.
and the Little Raffy speed, that triple threat where you're taking extra bases, you can turn a double into a triple, you can turn a shallow pop fly single from second base into a run. It's things like that. Like that's where I feel that playoff atmosphere. That's
chaos.
Where one of those guys are going to score a very, very important run, all because they created it with their legs. Actually, we're going to see it tonight. We're going to see it tonight.
Something that I'm going to add on top of your note, from a note that I had written down, about this little triple threat of speed that we got between Duran, Hamilton, and Little Raffy is, have you noticed since Hamilton got out of the shadow realm on the bench for his defensive mishaps that Alex Cora has been keeping them consistently in a bang, bang, bang role, one after the other in that trio, whether it's Little Raffy batting ninth, Jaron Duran, Angry Lizard leading off, and David Hamilton batting second, or if it is David Hamilton batting eighth, Little Raffy batting ninth, and then Duran leading off. And it seems like it's based on the handedness of the pitcher. Righties on the mound, you're more than likely going to see Hamilton in the 2-hole. Lefties, you're going to either see him in the 8-hole or riding pine like he did all game 2 night, and Jamie Westbrook will be in there, or Emmanuel Valdez. All right. That's normally been the route.
Yeah. And yeah, it has been. I'm going to agree with you. No more Porcent for Brandon either before any of this.
No more.
My next note, I'm all for mic'd up players, especially on the opposing team, because I got to imagine it is so difficult to do a mic'd up like mid-game thing, because they had shown one of Kike doing this, right? And Kike's playing third base. He's mic'd up, and he gets a he gets an in-between hop read. So you see him kind of jump back, but then he tries to come forward and get it on a short hop. He catches it in between, makes an error, and you hear him go, fuck, and like makes it throw. Like, that's got to be so frustrating. Like, if you're a player, and like it happened to Juan Soto tonight. He's out there in left field. They're talking to him, asking him questions and stuff like that. And then he gets a ball hit to him. And like, he handled it very well. But again, it's just got to be so hard because like, you got to sit there and figure like, okay, I got to run around first right here. If I get a ball in the gap, I got to go this way with it. If I'm going this way, I'm throwing it to this cutoff. You're muted. But there's so much
distracting.
Yeah, like I feel like it's so distracting. So my whole point is I'm all for it with opposing teams, not my guys.
No, leave it up to the injured list guys to be your mic and camera crew.
100%.
And that's what we did.
And that's exactly what we did. And you know what? Good time to dive into this because I don't remember exactly where it came up, but I know we will forget to go into it. Tristan Casas needs to be on, like, interviewed either at least once a series, every game, every week. I don't care because he was in game 1 of this and 3, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so game 1, like, he's sitting there and he tells this crazy story about how his dad got arrested at a Little League game when he was like 6 or 7 because he was crying in the dugout. So his dad, trying to prove a point, like, there's no crying in baseball, basically, like, grabbed him by the shirt and cartoonishly kicked him out onto the field, or kicked him out onto the field. One of the opposing parents called the child services on the dad. The cops came and arrested the dad. So he tells that story. Actually, that was tonight, I believe. Either way, that story gets told.
Yeah,
that was tonight. But like the night, the first game, right? Like he's sitting there and he's like talking about the whole visual aspect because Lou was like, we saw you at home plate that one time, just staring out there for like 20 minutes. Like, what was that about? He goes, honestly, I learned all that from Duran. Like, Duran's the one who taught me the visual aspect, and to be able to do that and like seeing how much he's picking up from some of these guys, and now seeing Casas's personality. Like, I feel like we didn't get enough of Casas before, so now we're actually seeing him on a bigger stage with these interviews, and I think he's going to very quickly, I know his performance-wise has led him to be a fan favorite. I think very quickly he's going to be like the fan favorite in Boston with what he says, how he goes about it, and his personality.
If you're calling this dude weird, you got a lot of problems, man. Like, after all these interviews and TV mic time Casas has had during this injured stint alone, yeah, he's a little weird, but that's what makes him him. And if anything, he's a cool cat, like very self-aware, disciplined, good human being individual. That's somebody that we should be celebrating. That's not somebody that we should be shitting on, especially as his fan base. Just because he paints his nails, just because he isn't afraid to speak his mind and be himself. Come on, man. We got to live for that as Boston sports fans, because isn't that what, Boston prides themselves on? Having a little weirdness to us, being a little out there, but not giving a fuck what other people think about us. Come on.
That's it. Always being kind of the underdog, having those personalities, the Kevin Millars of the world. You know what I mean? Those guys just going out there doing it. And I'm here for it. Like, he's pushing Duran to the All-Star game. He's like, that dude needs to be on this All-Star
He was doing
team.
live game interviews after Dom Smith almost hit a home run. Dom Smith wanted nothing to do with it. He had
Shocking.
Brian Bayo on it as well for ESPN with a jersey on reverse for tonight's game. Yes. Yeah. It just, the man was free balling it beyond belief. I don't even think ESPN asked him a single question. I'm pretty sure he just word vomited for about 10 minutes straight about anything and everything that came to his mind. And it was just so refreshing. You felt like you had an inside look and you were in the dugout sitting down having a cup of coffee with the man.
Well, that was the cool thing about it, though, too, was that it wasn't like the typical interview where he's sitting in the corner with just a headset on. Like, he was moving in and out of the dugout.
Yeah, they were following him around with the camera and everything.
And then Bayo came into it, and they're speaking Spanish with each other, having fun.
I mean, as a manager, would that frustrate you at all? I mean, I guess at that level, it's part of it in there, but
I would say
taking a guy that's in the game and doing that, I don't know.
Well, Bayo wasn't in the game, and nor was Casas. Oh, I guess Dom
Smith.
Yeah, Dom. But
that was right behind Core and Bailey and those guys.
I think if this is game 1 and we're down 8-1, yes, that's maybe not an issue, but maybe that's something hey,
He had better feel there. Yeah, he had good feel.
When you're up and like the vibes are good, all for it, I would think.
Fair. All right, proceed.
Juan Soto seems to love Fenway. Just saying.
But he does.
I don't know. He's talking about how he was in between the innings talking to the guys running the Green Monster and stuff like that. Was talking about the atmosphere. He's hit well here, so doubt we sign him, but still
interesting.
Just embarrassing what we are doing to Stroman and Trevino. Hamilton has second stolen base of the night. Ever heard of a slide step or pick? This man went high leg kick every single time. And eventually, I do have it in the notes here. I think there's a reason, and they caught on to something.
Very similar with the hold count timings as well.
Exactly.
A strong indication that they were going off of that, knowing that the leg lift was so long to the plate delivery-wise that they had them timed up with their stopwatch type of stuff. They were swiping it left and right with anybody who would do it.
But they also half their stolen bases didn't even draw a throw. That's how quick they were to the bat and rattled Jose Trevino by the plate.
The reason why I say this is because when they were on the broadcast, they were talking about once, I think it was Rob Refsnyder, yes, who got thrown out at second. He was, and he left early. And they were talking about the new school technique of how to time up
one
pitchers.
Mississippi, two Mississippi.
Whole time, one Mississippi, two Mississippi, time to the plate, and getting momentum with a shuffle into an extension of your lead and using that momentum to then go steal your base in one fell swoop.
We're going to get there in just 1 minute. Don't you worry. So keep in mind, I said it's embarrassing mixing a slide step or a pick, right? And how previous we talked about how one of these guys are going to manufacture a run completely on their own between Hamilton, Duran, and Little Rafi because of their speed. This is that moment. So Hamilton gets on, steals second, right? Then goes and steals third. His third stolen base tonight already, and the team has a season-high 6 stolen bases this game. That was impressive. They were just running rampant on these guys. And then my next note is this is how a playoff team plays. After that, Devers flies out to center field. Hamilton scores, makes it 4-1 in the bottom of the 5th. So completely manufactured his own run. Got on base, stole 2 bases, sac fly, got him in. Impressive. Next note, and this is going to go to exactly what you were just talking about there. Rob Refsnyder tried to steal, and my note here is a straight timing steal. They definitely, so he got thrown out, and Marcus Stroman ended up holding onto the ball like a half second to a second longer, and you see him trying to time up, steal, and go towards second base, and you hear step off, step off, step off, throws him out. That goes to show that Stroman was not mixing up timing very well. And it's a lot harder to do now with the pitch clock because you literally have a clock that you can see that, okay, he throws on 5 every time, or he's throwing on 6 every time, or when he comes set, he's holding it a certain amount of time. And then on top of it, too, he's slow to the plate. You have the long leg kick. You mix in the fact that his timing from the time that he comes set to his leg lifting. Boom, you can time that up a little bit. So they absolutely had that on him. And this just goes to show Cora sitting there, picking that up and be like, we're going to run until they pretty much tell us we can't run anymore. And they really didn't make any changes on that.
No, there was no adjustments made.
Cutter just loves home runs. Doesn't matter what team hits them. He just wants to see them. Trevino hits a homer. It's 4-2 Sox, top of the 6th. This guy just, again, loves letting up home runs this year. This string of starts of letting up at least 1 home run, but 2 most games, it's getting ridiculous.
I'll take it as long as they're solo shots.
Amen. Back and forth chance of let's go Yankees to Yankees suck. It's just so fun to see. And we've heard this all season because the Yankees fans traveled well and they were loud. I'm sure you could probably say that too about how it was in game 2, but the Yankees fans were loud and you would hear let's go Yankees chants. And then immediately you would hear the chatter, the boos, and then the Yankees suck, Yankees suck. And hearing it on the broadcast was so cool because it sounded like it was loud in there. So just that type of atmosphere that I love.
I could go without the let's go Yankees chants in Fenway, but
me too, 100%. But at least we were able to fight back. I mean, they shouldn't be there to begin with, but at least we were able to quiet it down.
Yeah, it was.
immediately after that, I said, this also makes me very nervous because Soto's up with the tying run at first. And I believe at this point, too, Cutter was still in the game. I was like, this is like one of those perfect times for like a game tying home run with the let's go Yankees chance and then Yankees suck chance, like to have this dude be the one to fucking hit it. But he did not. Soto grounds out to Valdez in almost the same play that we wanted to send Dom Smith to the fucking moon and never come back, except this time it was made. He went to his left. Dom Smith had to go face the outfield. The throw came over, and Dom Smith actually hung in there, stuck his glove out, and caught the ball to make the out. Granted, Volpe was able to get the third on this play because of how far over it was, but I was just very happy the play was made.
Yeah, me too. I held my breath, but it was a very smooth footwork made play.
Yep, and the throw
one of the
was
better
much
plays
better.
he's had this year. One of the better ones.
I would agree. Wild pitch gets away. Anthony Volpe scores. It's 4-3 Sox still. And then this goes to, and we kind of already talked about it. I said, does Zach Kelly have big balls? The only answer is yes. So just to draw it up again, Bernardino gets the bases loaded. It might have been a hit, 2 walks, whatever it was. Bases loaded, no outs. They bring in Zach Kelly, strikes out, what was it, the first 2 hitters, and then gets a ground out or something like that? Or was it vice versa?
Yeah,
Rio to a strikeout, and then a strikeout, and then like a pop out to center field. Just electric. Coming in, bases loaded, only up by 1. That was good. Devers singles in the bottom of the 7th to make it 5-3 Sox. That was a big insurance run, or so I thought. Then Wong ends up hitting a triple. This went down the right field line. Verdugo tried to go get it, ends up kind of bobbling it and missing it. You and I were both like, fuck this guy. He runs over, gets to third base, and right now, Wong, like the zoom in photo of this, literally injected so much energy into me. Like, I was like, yes, this is what we need, because he literally is just sitting there like, grabbing freaking boobies and screaming. Like, just something I never see out of Wong. He's normally very mild tempered, like quiet. He was fired up in that moment.
It was the statement. It was the mic drop on one hell of a week.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely was. My last note here before we'll get into the finals. Hamilton stole his 3rd base tonight and set a franchise record as a team for stealing 9 bases in a single game. So Cora saw blood in the water and just absolutely feasted. Muted.
When you smell blood, you go and get the kill, man. Simple as that.
Amen. But Sox end up winning 9-3. Out hit the Yankees 14-6. Cutter Crawford went 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 9 Ks, allowed 2 home runs. ERA, I believe, improves to 3.54, and he also improves to 3-6 on the year. Bernardino didn't have his best stuff, but Zach Kelly bailed him out, and Greg Weiser, again, we don't know what version of him we're going to get, but he comes in, throws 2 innings, allows 1 hit, and strikes out 3 batters. Sox improved to 2 games above 500 at 37 and 35. And you know what? For the first time in a long time, not really, we did this last episode, we get to name a SoxHub Series MVP.
You could say we haven't done back-to-back episodes with SoxHub Series MVP picks.
That's exactly it. It's late at night. We're at 12:30 now. I'm half asleep.
Oh
here.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Who
do you got here? I'm gonna have you
right.
go first today. You go first today.
So I'm gonna go with an out of the box one. Okay.
All right.
And there is some things that you could look at and go to. Like Duran had another really good series. David Hamilton's night alone tonight with stealing 3 bases, pile on a couple of hits. He did have an 0 for 5 though in the first game. Didn't play the second game. Devers constantly hitting. Rob Refschneider had great stuff. Like some of the pitching was really good, but like nobody really stood out. It was such a team effort this whole series, and that's what I loved about it. Was everybody was hitting, everybody was passing the baton. So if I have to say, I'm gonna go Alex Cora as my SoxHub Series MVP. And again, the big reason there is just managing the bullpen, being able to get something like Kenley on the phone in the bullpen in the 8th inning saying, I'm ready to go. This gets out of hand. You're putting me in. Like I'm going in this game right now. And Cora having the field to be like, all right, that's what we need right now. Let's put it in there. Mix matching his lineups, pinch hitting his guys, picking up on the Stroman thing, and just stealing bases left and right. Again, without him, I don't think this happens. You know what I mean? And just the lineup he put together and everything, just seeing what he was manipulating out there, I loved, because it was a team effort. The person you got to give the credit to for the team success is the manager. So I'm going to go Alex Cora is my vote.
Very good. Very good nomination, Mac. I'm proud of you for that synopsis right there.
Made the most sense.
It does, and I'd have to agree with you. Here's where my mind went. Long story short here, I'm also picking Alex Cora as the Sox Hub Series MVP, no doubt. My mind initially went to the improvements that this offense has made, top to bottom, role players to the studs. All around, it's been just a 180 to what we were talking about of a dead and dormant offense, and at times a polarizing offense. They have not been polarizing. They've been rather consistent outside of that Luis Gil and Zach Wheeler outing, which are two of the best pitchers in the game. Like, not many lineups are going to do very well or fare well against those two arms. I was thinking that I was going to go Pete Fozzie, the Red Sox hitting coach here.
I thought about it.
Overall production, but then when you go look at the pitching staff here, it was a get-right series here in a sense, not only for the starting rotation, but for key bullpen pieces, and it was different bullpen pieces this time out, stepping up in comparison to what normally happens. All right, and this is all being done with somebody that we don't have right now in the Silver Fox, Chris Martin. Chris Martin just had his little rehab stints in the minor leagues. He's set up to do that, and he should be returning for the Toronto series in Toronto here coming up, which is fucking awesome news for that man who was dealing with anxiety here and went on the IL for that. But so I was like, damn, Andrew Bailey could kind of get a little love here, but no, definitely doesn't deserve as much as Pete Fozzie. Then you got to give your boy over there, the third base coach, a lot of credit for the aggressive stuff that they've been doing on the base paths. You got to give credit to the first base coach because, quite frankly, he's the one with the stopwatch every single pitch, every single inning out there when we're on offense, timing up the pitcher and getting the hold count timing. Not only getting the hold count timing, but the delivery to the plate too. And he's relaying all of that information. You got our defensive coaches that not many people even kind of comprehend that they're doing stuff and make a big impact. But there's an individual when Little Rafi is at shortstop. And then Alex Cora is the individual for Bobby Dahlback when Bobby's at first. But there's specific coaches that these defensive players are looking at to help poke in the right direction out there and hold them at bay in a really tough series against the New York Yankees. And that's not just happening against the Yankees. Like, it's sick to see the rookie shortstop that's not a primary shortstop for us, and Ceddanne Rafaela has a specific coach that he's looking at after every single pitch. And this coach is like a freaking field general, just directing him left, right, minor shifts every single play. Like, you hardly saw little Ralphie have to go to his little shift sheet. He had like a personal guy that was showing him the whole entire ropes. And then you got the pinch hit opportunities, trusting a player when he makes the phone call from the bullpen that he's saying, put me in the game, kind of trying to be the manager in that situation. Having the ability to have no ego there and leave it at the door and trust your veteran leader and future Hall of Famer, Kenley Jansen there. That's nobody else other than Alex Cora there. Sure, Andrew Bailey could be in his ear as his right-hand man with the pitching staff saying, probably a good idea to put him in, man. At the end of the day, it's up to Alex Cora to make that decision and all of these decisions that are being made. And he is providing the opportunity and comfortability for this coaching staff to do this and to perform at this level as a unit, not just as a group of players, but the staff. And what I saw from game 2, man, just being like right there in the dugout, or like, it's not like a coach and player relationship in there. There's like no intimidation. It's like homies and bros dapping each other up, laughing, having a great time. But then you like see the smiles and joking around, just whoop. But seriously, man, here's the numbers. Here's what you got to do. Like, here's the iPad. This is the swing. This is what it looked like right here. This is the adjustment next at bat. All right, you got it. And then it's a double off the wall the next at bat. Dude, it is the loosest business operation that is just so cutthroat at the same time, and so like life or death every single game. They're playing with that playoff atmosphere. In that you got to point directly to the leader of the ship and Alex Cora right there. It's unanimous. It's a no doubter right now that because there's too many guys here that went and performed. It was not one guy. It was not two guys. It was not three. It wasn't two arms or one bullpen arm. It was the whole entire kitchen sink that we have on this 26-man roster, bro. You got to give it to the manager for being able to handle these pieces and handle these chips on the table. And this is such a sick sign to see him doing this against the Yankees in this sort of environment, this sort of atmosphere. When we have Willie Abreu coming back from injury, we got Liam Hendricks coming back later on in the year after the trade deadline. We got Tristan Casas coming back. We're going to have Vaughn Grissom coming back. There's no other manager in the league that's going to be able to finesse and keep the clubhouse happy and on point and tunnel visioned better than Alex Cora in this spot. It's going to be really tough down the line here for this man to plug and play and figure out the optimal lineups. But I have 1,000,000% confidence that this man is going to take it above everybody's expectations, even my own here, because I am putting a ton of expectation on this being a really successful second half of the year once we have our health sustained that much more and everybody's back in that lineup.
If we make it into a wild card spot and a deep run in the playoffs, I'll tell you right now, like, we don't do that without Alex Cora.
It sucks that you can't give like an MVP award or a postseason MVP award to a manager. It's just solely that Coach of the Year award. And I'm very curious to like, we'll save this for the end, but like how much that line is at for Coach of the Year award for Alex Cora. I'm curious about that. But one more time, congrats to AC, our manager, Alex Cora, for the SoxHub Series MVP. Your manager of the year for the 2024 MLB season here. Book it.
Ooh. Without a doubt. If they make a wild card spot, there's without a doubt that it is him.
Now, Mac, we're gonna do this because it's back-to-back series wins. We're gonna have to roll with it. I can't wait to hear it.
Are you
know what time it is right now? All right.
Oh, baby, do I? Do you have one?
Oh, copyright infringement.
That just took
Wet alert.
So bad.
Wet alert. Oh, man. Instead. Oh, shit. Guess who's back? It's Mountain Bullet Slayer Whiskey. Precision craftsmanship, smoothly savored and violently delivered. This week's TTPP is brought to you in part by no other than the that fire's from still showing picture. Closer and future Hall of Famer. Fucking Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. He may have only thrown. Kenley Jansen, ladies and gentlemen, is your TTPP. Despite only throwing 1.1 innings pitch, I could really give a fuck less. Being Lou Brown here, I take pride in my players leaving their nuts on the table, not only with their play, with the way they addressed their manager. And goddamn it, Kenley Jansen had the trust and comfortability to pick up that goddamn phone and call his man Alex Cora and tell him to put me in the goddamn game. Red alert, the fireman is coming. And we gotta put out this fire and save the goddamn series in borderline season. Oh, Kenley Jansen, man, this is what we've been waiting for. This is all that Mac and Trotta here have been asking for out of you, and you delivered violently.
like the bullet slider whiskey itself. Shout out to you, man. Keep it rolling the rest of the year. Don't let that back fray up on you now. And keep slugging that bullet slider whiskey hoodies up out there in the pen until your name's called. And we see you walk that distance all the way from the bullpen to the pitcher's mound, taking a half hour. But it's all well worth it once you finish that bottle of your own bullet slider whiskey in your seats at the stadium. Because you are borderline blackout drunk for Kenley Jansen to come save that goddamn game and the series.
Well, you know what? I think that's a great pick because I actually had put down Zach Kelly originally for pitching in the first game and getting 3 Ks. So we went 3 innings pitch and had 5 Ks. And I didn't know if you actually had one, so I was going to hit it and do a whole TTP. But I'm actually very happy you went Kenley.
He gets a nip.
Yeah.
Zach Kelly gets a 6-pack of nips.
I would say definitely like a 6-pack of nips for
maybe even a 5th.
Maybe even a 5th because of coming out bases loaded, no outs.
Yeah, and then we give like a couple nips to Justin Slayton and Cooper Criswell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like that was a little game changing because the whole entire the majority of Red Sox Nation, not the entire, the majority did not expect Cooper Criswell to do what he did in those 4 innings. That was incredible and set the tone for the pitching staff for the last 2 games of this series.
But Kenley, that's a good pick.
That is season changing for not only himself, but this whole entire team and pitching staff. Like if your leader, your veteran who has like a broken back every single day of his life is out there doing that, sacrificing, putting his body and arm on the line for the boys, doing something unconventional like that. Oh man, that's so uplifting for those younger cats because they're like, if old man Kenley's doing that, why can't we? Let's roll.
I love it. Well, let's give a round of applause to our TTPP of this week, Kenley motherfucking Jansen.
He felt like doing something, and it was freaking unreal.
I loved it. But again, my eyes are closing as we get here. Let's get to the series.
Let's get it.
This is going to be a fun series, I believe.
Big
so what
fun.
Do you got?
We are going to Toronto, ladies and gentlemen, for a 3-game set against the Blue Jays. They've been quite underwhelming this year. But let's look at this series look ahead before we get too carried away, shall we? Okay.
Yusei Kikuchi
versus Nick Pivetta in the Monday night 7:07 first pitch game. Game 2, you got Hulkamania Tanner Houck going off against Chris Bassett, the Houndski. Game 3, the finale. You got 2 struggling pitchers facing off against one another. What a crapshoot. Brian Bayo versus Kevin Gausman. And that'll round up your 3-game series in Toronto. To break this down, game by game for the pitching matchups. I mean, we break down these motherfuckers every single pod, but I'm going to go as quick as I can for the Red Sox ones. Pavetta's 3-4, 3.88 ERA now, 1.08 whip, 55 Ks, 13 walks, 46 in the 3rd inning. So the 13 walks is so impressive for him this year. I'm loving to see that. His last start was against Philly. 4 innings, 4 earned, 6 hits, 4 Ks, 4 walks, and a no decision. Reason I say that, I'll get to later in my series. Look ahead for my prediction.
Yusei Kikuchi
In 2024, 4-5 record, 3.26 ERA, very respectable, man. 1.23 whip, 76 Ks, 19 walks, and 77 in a 3rd innings pitch.
Yusei Kikuchi
Last 2 starts, 2-0. These have been against very good squads. Baltimore Orioles and the Milwaukee Brewers combined 2-0 record in those 2 games. 1 earned, 11 Ks, 5 walks, 7 hits, and 11 innings pitched. So
Yusei Kikuchi
is low-key nice. We'll see. Tanner Houck versus Chris Bassett for game 2. Houckski on the year, 7-5 record. Oh my God. I remember when he was like 4-5, man. 2.08 ERA, 0.95 whip, 89 Ks, 15 walks only, and 91 innings pitched. Houck hasn't allowed more than 3 runs in a game since April 12th versus the LA Angels. 0 to 3 runs generally with 6+ innings pitched. A guarantee quality start pitcher when he takes the ball. A true ace. Chris Bassett, on the other hand, 2024. I loved this guy. I've loved this guy for such a long time. When he was a free agent, man, I wanted the Red Sox to grab him so bad when we needed a guy to eat innings, and they just didn't pull the trigger, probably because he makes a shit ton of money, but for very good reason. This guy is a baller and has such a good breaking ball. You are on mute, my friend, but I am sure you are agreeing with me tenfold.
You just know what you're going to get out of him.
Every time. And he is an innings. It reminds me of a not as good version as Nate Eovaldi, especially if he ends up being a Boston Red Sox, like in another world back in the day. But he has a 6-6 record this year in 2024, 3.56 ERA. Again, very respectable considering how bad the Blue Jays have been. Very weird. 1.4 whip, 75 Ks, 32 walks, and 78 and a third. The last 7 starts for him, last 7 straight starts, he has a 4-1 record, a sub-2 ERA with a 1.93, a 1.17 whip, 41 Ks, 14 walks in 42 innings. Bassett is hot the last 7 times out. Jesus Christ. But Houck is too. Anyways, game 3. Good Lord, we are going to have a crazy game here. Brayan Bello versus Kevin Gausman. Kevin Gausman has been a quite consistent individual in the Cy Young polls year after year after year after year. So being at the halfway point here and seeing these numbers are going to alarm a lot of people and be like, whoa, what? What, dude? 500 on the year, 5-5 record, 4.08 ERA, 1.27 whip, 75 K, 16 walks, 75 innings pitched. His last 2 starts, he's 1-1, 14 and a third innings pitched, 3 earnies, 16 Ks, 1 walk, 13 hits. So just under a sub-1 whip there in the last 2 outings. Brayan Bello in 24, he's 6-4, that's cute. But his ERA is now a 5 flat. Ugh. A 1.4 whip. Ugh. 56 Ks, 24 walks, and 63 innings pitched. Brayan Bello hasn't given up less than 3 earned in a start since May 12th, 2024, like I said earlier on this podcast. A little alarming, man. But thank God he's matched up against Gausman. I'm going to let you take away your series prediction here to go first. A little impromptu, like what we normally do on the pod, but we've been doing that with a couple of things already. Might as well keep that like weirdness going. Mix it up for the listeners a little bit. Keep them on their toes, you know. Keep their feet active.
All about getting weird, active feet just going. Little impromptu, jizzy jazz here.
Yes, sir.
I had originally, when we did the month look ahead, said that we were going to sweep the first series against Toronto. Now, I can tell you right now, I don't think that's the actual case. That's just me looking at the schedule. In this particular series, you look at the matchups, I think we win 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Yep. I believe that we win game 1. Yusei Kikuchi versus the Red Sox.
You pronounced it wrong.
Yusei Kikuchi. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Yusei Kikuchi.
There you go. Good one.
Thank you. Against the Red Sox, career-wise, has a 6.11 ERA, 28 innings pitched, 30 hits, 19 runs, only 24 Ks to 12 walks, and he has 7 home runs allowed. Now, granted, this is between 2019 and 2013. None of our guys typically, actually, Devers has seen him quite a bit, but my whole point here is that we typically see him pretty well when we face him, so I think we win that. And he's going against Nick Pivetta, who's pitched very, very well recently, so I'm expecting him to kind of, well, outside of the last start wasn't that great, but has pitched well in recent games. Expecting him to come through here. Game 2 is the one that makes me nervous, to be honest with you. I know Houck's on the mound. Believe me, I know. It's more so Chris Bassett dominates the Red Sox. He has a career 2.14 ERA. Granted, it's 21 innings pitched, but 21 innings pitched, 2.14 ERA, with 21 strikeouts, 6 walks, 3 home runs allowed, 14 hits. So he pitches very well against them, and especially seeing what he's done the last few starts, I worry a little bit about the offense, maybe having one of their little cold spells against a pitcher like him, because I think he mixes speeds really well, and I've realized that we struggle with pitchers that can mix and locate. And the only person that's really the damage against him too is Devers. So there's that. I do think we win the Gosman game. That one does make me a little nervous because there's times this year where Gosman has been able to look the part that he's looked in previous years where he is an ace and Cy Young level pitcher. And then there's days where his velo's not there. He's letting up home runs, walking the ballpark, and allowing runs. So essentially, we're kind of seeing like a Brian Bayo on the other team here. We're like, I don't know what we're going to get. I think this is just a bloodbath offensively where we're looking at 9-10 runs combined, maybe even more than that with like a 7-5 game type thing. So yeah, that's my prediction. 2 out of 3.
All right, I like it. I'll go game by game here too a little bit. The game 1, the Pivetta start, Pivetta's normally a ping pong ball here or a tennis ball. He'll have 1 or 2 good starts in a row, then 1 bad start, and then bounce back. Pivetta's getting the dub here. I love this opening pitcher for the series for us here. My 1A option for series starts is good old Tanner Houski. That's a no-brainer, but my second pick would easily be Nick Pivetta just by his mindset and personality out there on the mound. And I feel like he would thrive and will thrive in this position of being the tone setter for the pitching staff for this series. And we said that the last 2 series, especially the Yankees one that we just won, was extremely important. Well, that was in the past now. Now this series right here against the Toronto Blue Jays from our division, this is now the most important series of the year, especially with them being at the basement right now and us as the team that was projected to be there. It's kind of like a flip-flop role here from like, oh, the big bad Red Sox. The Red Sox are coming in and we're in last place or in the bottom of the barrel of the AL right now. Like, how did this happen? And this is a big, like, Toronto Blue Jays have a nice little opportunity to pump themselves up, have one common goal to prove a lot of people wrong and to ruin the Red Sox season. Nick Pivetta is a type of guy that can kind of read into that and probably feel that energy. Be like, nah, not today, motherfucker. I'm going to be your villain. I'm going to ruin your day. How about that? I'm going to ruin your season that much more than the year already has been ruined for you. Yusei Kikuchi does not scare me, dude. All right. I know we haven't done too great against similar pitchers from similar backgrounds this year, but Kikuchi doesn't scare me. It's not a lot of velo. It's a lot of traffic on the bases. Throughout his last 2 starts, especially against lineups that the Red Sox are kind of matching right now or one-upping production-wise in Baltimore and Milwaukee. I mean, dude, in 11 innings, you give up 7 hits and 5 walks. He really lucked out and only had 1 earned in those 2 outings. So, like, his luck's going to run out eventually, man. Like we've said many times on this podcast and been fairly spot on with them, what comes up must come down. And Yusei Kikuchi is definitely going to come down here with authority after the Red Sox are going to just continue momentum that like they have been doing from the Philly series and this Yankee series going into yet another intense 3-game matchup.
And on top of it, the Red Sox are like 1-1 against Asian pitchers. Like we didn't hit Shota Imanaga well, but then we went out and hit Kenta Maeda pretty well.
So a little bit. Yeah, we struggled with him a little bit. We struggled with him a little bit at the beginning, but they made the adjustments like we've talked about them doing so many times offensively throughout this month, and they crushed it. That was the beginning of the month, if I recall, or the last 2 days of May. But so we got 1-0 Red Sox right now. Game 2, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. You already know what I'm going with on a Houski day, a Houkamania day. 2-0 Sox. All right, Chris Bassett may be good, but Tanner Houck is better, and we'll match him, one-up him, stay in the game longer. This is going to be a much watch pitching matchup of the week. This is going to be like a 2-0, 1-0, 3-2 ball game right here. Hammer the under. Anyways, game 3. This is the interesting one, man. This is the one that I am going to pencil down as another must-watch. I know we watch 99% of these games, but this one's intriguing because this can go 2 ways. They're going to match each other, so it's either going to be a shit pump fest for the offenses, and it's going to be 9 a 12-9 final, something crazy like that, with these guys matching each other, giving up 6-7 earned, 5-7 earned in the first 4 or 5 innings of the game. Or they're both going to come out and they're going to be dominant. Kevin Gossman won a complete game shutout with 11 strikeouts 2 times out, and Bayo has been able to go 6-7 strong in the past of scoreless baseball, limiting damage, limiting traffic. If they both run into their nice stars being aligned at the same day, same time, it can create a really nice series finale. But if it's anything like this year has been, the Red Sox love to win the last game of the series. They like to make statements. And what better statement to make than to face off against your first alleged ace and mollywop him all over the field and take him out of the game before the 4th inning even comes around. You know what I'm about to get to, buddy. The Red Sox are going into Toronto. They're bringing a lot of brooms, and they're sweeping.
We got a sweep pick over here. You think they're going to go into Toronto and do a little sweepskis?
Oh, they're sweeping. They're getting tipsy on the plane ride over there from all that celebratory bullet slider whiskey being thrown around. Everybody in that plane. Everybody in that plane. I can't wait for them to land and get ready to go for this opening night. Like I said, Nick Pavetta's going to shove it. Houski is going to shove it. Bayo is going to, have a revelation from God and shove it. And this offense is going to continue to be a top 5 offense in the league like they have been doing the last 2 weeks. The Red Sox are not the team to mess with right now. They're a team that you should fear to see on your schedule currently. It's going to be some movie, Mac, if I do say so myself the next 3 days.
Touche. I see what you did there. I think it'll be very interesting. I love the sweep pick. I really do, because I had originally jotted it down when we did the monthly notes. I was like, we sweep that first series. No big deal. This is probably me just trying to stay humble and try to limit expectations of my own, because coming off a huge 2 big series wins against,
you think there's going to be a hangover maybe a little bit, game
like,
1?
There could be a hangover where we've played 2 really good teams and now we're going to play a team that's worse than us, numbers wise, divisionally wise, in our division and stuff like that, where I could see us slipping up and very
play down
easily,
to competition.
Yeah, maybe handing them a game. Essentially because of a Dom Smith stupid error or something.
And then it's a wake up call all over again for us,
Exactly.
and we roll the last 2, other 2 series.
Yeah,
that's fair.
It's a very sweepable series, just as much as
the Red Sox switch their roles of just splitting everything and going 500, 500, 500, and they just go 2 or 3, 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 2 or 3. Oh,
that's what scares me. But they win at a 650. They win at a 650 percentage clip over until the trade deadline. Anything's possible.
Hey man, I don't think I'm going to complain too bad if we don't sweep, but we go 2 out of 3. Not going to complain if we are going to keep rolling and win the series.
Amen. But just to keep the good times rolling here, so we got 2 out of 3 for me, 3 out of 3. He's got a series sweep pick. I hope we are vibing hard next pod for that.
Yet again.
That will quickly bring us to our new segment.
Yes, sir.
The SoxHub Slippery Picks.
Ooh, they're going to be slippery for this 3-game set. I got some good ones for you, young whippersnappers that like a little extra jingle in your pocket and like to sweat out some Sox games. I have one for each game, and then I have one for every single game that we should put down. For game 1, we are going to hammer Yossi Kikuchi's under total outs recorded. It's going to be between that 5-inning mark or 6-inning mark. If it is 14.5, hammer it. If it's 15.5. 15.5 or more, you take the under. All day on that. Free money. He's not going to go more than 5. The second pick will be for game 2, and I'm taking whatever Hauksky's over on strikeouts are. That's going to be plus money, or at worst, a minus 120, 125, Johnny. My third for game 3 against Kevin Gausman, who's been victim to the long ball a lot this year. Rafael Devers is going big fly, anytime home run on Wednesday for the finale right there. My one for every single game of this series is an interesting one. It's a ballsy one. We quite honestly need one of these games out of the 3 to hit in order to probably break even. If 2 of the 3 hit, they were profitable. If 3 out of 3 hit like it did this past series,
You're feeling real good.
we're feeling real smart. We're going to take Jarren Duran for 1+ double, not just in game 1, not just in game 2, but also in game 3. This man is a walking doubles machine. If you aren't comfortable with that and you want to play with minus 130, minus 125, take his total bases for the 3 games in a row. It's probably going to be more than that with how hot he is, so I'm going more specific with the type of hit he gets, and it's going to be a double. All right, he loves the doubles. He's top 5, top 10 in the league in doubles. You could get really dangerous and try and like snipe out a triple, but I'm keeping it conservative with a double because he hits those pretty consistently. My very last one, I'm going to add a bonus one in. It is going to be for game 2 and game 3. We're going to take the under in game 2, whatever the hell they slot that at. It is going to be a gifted if it's like a minus, if it's at an 8.5 total or like more. Anything around a 7.5 over under total, 6.5. I get a little nervous about that under, but still with those 2 guys and the way they've been looking, oh, you'll take that all day. And then the last game, taking the over all day with how Gausman and Bayo have looked all year.
I love that. I think those are all great picks. I'm loving the Jarren Duran +1 double because that's literally
every game.
Only extra base hits.
Yep. I'll take that to the bank all day.
I will have more picks for you guys personally. I'm not going to lie to you. I've said it like 3 times. I'm like dead inside. Don't feel good. Tired.
I did 5 right there.
Over.
Hey,
like,
I did yours. I did yours today.
We'll
have the overs and unders be for you. The game totals.
But I like those picks a lot, and I'll probably be tailing right along with them.
That's good. Responsibly,
right.
please.
Let's bring that to closing thoughts. I will start off with this, and I will let you gladly take it away and bring us home, land the plane. Fuck this week's broadcast in a 3-game series that brought me to NESN 360, to Fox, then to ESPN. I do not have cable, so it is extremely difficult to go out there and watch these games. I have to use Stream East. Now, Stream East sometimes is not going to work. Like it's going to, you're going to be behind. You're going to get 1,000 pop-ups or whatever it was. I was very lucky for game 2. I was able to sit outside by a fire, hang up the TV, and it went very smoothly for that.
It was a great setup.
It was very nice. I was so jealous you were there. I cooked hot dogs and hamburgers for myself. Like just sat outside, had a nice glass of whiskey, smoked a cigar, watched the freaking Red Sox just dominate the Yankees. It was great. However, quick side note here, also closing thought. Love cigars, but hate them because the next morning my mouth feels like a deer died in it. Like
gator mouth.
Yeah, like you just can't get rid of that flavor and that taste in your mouth and that. But worth every second and penny of that. But anyways, fuck the broadcast. Going from NESN to Fox to ESPN when you don't have cable, very difficult. Very excited to get some NESN back in here. And you'll never hear me say that, by the way, that I'm
At least
excited.
you didn't have to use the old Roku remote,
Oh yeah. I don't even have Roku.
I've told you so many times, man. The solution here, especially with the last 3 days,
Fubo TV.
Fubo TV has Fox. It has ESPN. It has NESN. $70 or $73.99 a month in comparison to the ripoff that you are paying $30 a month for NESN 360. That doesn't even work, buddy.
And it only shows me one thing. I could have fucking cable and my wife would be thrilled.
Dude, fuck it. Let's go half on it. All right? Because I mooch off of...
I think next year
mooch off of Louis McGowan's. Next year we can split it if you want, all right? I'll mooch off of Brendan McGowan a little longer, my boy Lou. And then next year we'll go in halfsies together. Just like we used to do with the MLB TV accounts.
Yeah. I still just re-up mine every year, and whoever uses
me
it,
too.
like Godspeed, spread the game. You know what I mean?
Yep. You can have so
Um,
many accounts registered onto that, and it's not like the FUBO, like I've explained to you.
yeah, yeah.
You can have like 50 people streaming on the same account, and it will work smoothly for everybody on that.
MLB TV, if you are listening to this, don't listen to that part. We love where it's at currently. I'm saying don't change it. Don't be like the other services that.
Sorry.
Um, but no, I mean obviously they have somebody listening, so just don't mess it up. All right. But my last closing thought is I know my vibe and energy wasn't there tonight, but I was generally thrilled about this series. I was thrilled with the way that it ended, how it looked. It wasn't that great from the start, but how they answered and finished and responded was huge. And I really love the direction the Red Sox team and the fan base and everything is going, because it makes me excited. It really does make me excited to think that this team, it's just, you're seeing positive regression here. You're seeing guys make adjustments. You're seeing defense come alive. You're seeing us run more. You're seeing guys want to play 162 games. Give me the ball. You're looking at something unfold in front of you that you want to see all year. You're not just gifted superstars that go out there and play every day. There's a culture and a standard that has been built and set, and these guys would run through a wall for any one of their teammates, and I love where it's going. So that's my final closing thought. I'm excited to see the rest of the way here.
I completely agree with your closing statements here. It's okay that you didn't have the bop that you normally have tonight. You weren't feeling too great today. You were a little under the weather, so we'll give you the pass. We understand. We're all human here. We all have things we got to deal with on that front. But me knowing you, I know how much this series meant to you. How much it meant to us as a duo, as a pod. I feel in my bones how much excitement you had during that whole entire 3-game set.
I mean, the texting back and forth, you could just
feel. You can tell all day. We cannot share those as explicit as they are. Maybe we'll G-rate it or PG-13 rate it for a night, and we'll record it and post like how much and how excessive it is. And then you'll see at a certain time every night, it's just me, Trotta, just fucking blue text for like 17 straight until Mac wakes up at 6:37 in the morning and we'll respond back. Classic.
We both have that though. Like when you were at the game and you're like, I'm gonna enjoy the game. I was like, Godspeed, brother. I was like, just don't mind my 1,000 texts that you might get in a row here. But like, no joke. Let's see if we can see this here. This is what I woke up to, right? So you have this.
Oh my God.
Then you have this.
My God.
Paragraph essay, but then you have this with something else that you'll probably
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I did not answer until yesterday at 10 a.m. Like
it was
great.
All time shit.
My closing statements, it's getting to beautiful summertime. The kiddos are out of school now. Congratulations. School's out for summer. Oh, play that High School Musical 2 soundtrack song. Geno's Candles, ladies and gentlemen, are coming out with their summer collection. Let's go. So Gino gave the SoxHub boys, Mac Daddy and Trotta, a fucking phone call the other day. And he came out with a couple new flavors with us. And I have 2 that I wanted to announce. I didn't know if you wanted to announce any of your collections, or if you wanted to have me announce mine today, and then next series you do yours. But
I think
there's
we take
2
the Trotta collection here today only. I think that's what
Trotta
the people need.
All right, well, fair enough. Here is your Trotta's Geno's Candles Summer Collection Edition candle scents. The first one we are going to call the Foreign Substance. All right. And the reason why we're using this in the summer collection is because the Foreign Substance of, my select choice here would be, and kind of low key, the only legal one you can get away with in games here outside of just a rosin bag, is you add rosin bag with sunblock. Add a little bit of your own sweat and moisture to that, and that sucker is just as good as pine tar right there. Not only that, but sunblock reminds you of the summertime, reminds you of the beach, could remind you of a baseball field, what have you. So just a catchy name, and it smells kind of low key nice.
I'd like a little sunblock rosin and like maybe even a touch of pine in there to resemble that.
Oh, for like pine tar. Yeah, and it kind of brings back that sticky texture in your mind and like taste buds and smell buds. The second one, and I'm really excited about this Geno's Candle Summer Collection Edition one. It's called the Subaru Summer, and it just it's I think you can assume, not to get profile-y and get this podcast canceled, but it smells like a pair of lesbian jeans and a 4-hour ride up the fucking mountain, like to the mountain in New Hampshire to go hike that bitch for about 3 days straight. This candle comes with a voice box in it as well, and it plays every single time you open your little lid to ignite your candle. All you hear is just the classic, "It's gonna be a Subaru summer." And it just really hits you with the nostalgia of all those classic times when we were little kids watching SA. You just hear that song and we're just fucking bopping like it's KARS, Cars for Kids. Oh, just one of the classic ones that I can't live without. And if I could have a voice box candle, I would take it for the sound box. Like the smell smells like lesbians taking a 4-hour trek on a hike. I don't know if that's going to smell great. Whatever tickles your peach, whatever tickles your fancy. But that voice box, man, a rare collection edition of Geno's candles that is a must-have for this summer and for years to come. Because there's a limited collection, like we've talked about. Geno doesn't have indispensable lesbian jeans out there in Italy, all right? They're being shipped to him, from like the U.S., okay? Like
the spring collection's done. We're on to summer, baby.
It's time. So go on to Geno's website, genoscandles.com, and pick up your summer collections, the Foreign Substance and the Subaru Summer. Out now.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm probably going to go out there and get both of those. I want to make it abundantly clear. We named a candle after the Subaru Summer. We love lesbians here. Okay.
We love them. They're fantastic people.
To the point, that's why we want to smell it in a candle with that Subaru Summer.
Absolutely.
Dear God, don't cancel us.
No, don't. That just the whole perspective on Subarus normally.
Yeah. And I'm sure they know.
They know.
You know.
Go look in your driveway.
Riley has one. Riley knows.
Yeah, that's close enough, Shalom. Shalayim. How are you?
But I love it. You got anything else closing statement-wise? Because I can't wait to tell my summer collection next week.
That's all I fucking got. Fuck the Yankees. Alex Verdugo, you're a booty cheek bum. All you want is attention. How about you go take a seat? Toronto Blue Jays, get ready for the wrath that's called the Boston Red Sox in the island of misfit toys that we have. It's going to be a fun sweep on the road in Toronto. Get ready for it. Hold on tight to the ride because it's going to go corkscrews, 360s, windmills, everything. So hold on tight. Bring your barf bag. Bring your heart pills. This is going to be a wild ride.
Buckle up, baby. I love it. All right.
Godspeed, everybody.
With that, we'll see you after the Toronto series. Godspeed. Smooches.
Woo!